Welcome everybody to our weekly game analysis stream here on my channel. It is SLADGIE. What's up, Astrobate? International Master William Pascal, based in Budapest, Ukraine, Hungary. Yeah. What's up, Mr. Coffee? Good to see you getting back into the flow of things. Have you had a chess renaissance? A little more time for chess? What's going on? Mr. Coffee playing games and submitting games for the analysis stream. Highly unusual. Nice to see you. Yeah, no. Our favorite moderator. Astrobate, Mr. Coffee. Who else is in the chat? The community. Well, what did I just do? I clicked something called community. What the heck? It's a new button. Weird. Well, that was weird. Wait, when I clicked that, it used to like show the people in the chat. Now they've changed it. The layout's different. SLADGIE, Moobot, HTFP. Wow, that's weird. Mr. Coffee, you're not listed. You haven't been in the chat long enough, or what? That's weird. Oh my god, what did I just do? No, come back. Alright, I did something crazy. Go back to chat. They've changed the format there. Fun! What's fun? Fun is banned. Fun. There's no fun. Chess is hard work. What kind of idiot thinks that chess is fun? If you want fun chess, go watch, Eric Rosen. I mean, seriously. No, this is serious. I'm a serious chess player, and I care about the game. I'm not recommending, silly things. Playing silly games. Alright, we've got Astrobate's first game. Astrobate 1733. Oh, Burst Gun. My name on one chess site was Mr. Serious, right? It was meant to be, like, sarcastic, but people ended up thinking, like, I meant that. Blitz is for fun, right? But chess is mostly a serious thing. Anyway. What's up, Repun? Real chess is meant to be serious. If you're talking about blitz or something faster, then it is simply just for fun. But that's not why I'm here. Okay, we've got Astrobate, submission. Mr. Coffee submitted a game against a founder, Move 11. Move 11 with no submission. Sumaher, he usually comes late. Sumaher always submits games, a game against the master. Repun, you're in trouble. You submitted a game against me. That's politically incorrect. Oh my god, that's such a fast time control. That's such a fast time control. Jeez. 30 plus 10 is classical for online chess, but it's ridiculously fast for over-the-board chess. But for a kids tournament, I guess it's kind of normal. I mean, it would be normal to play 30-0 back in the day. I think for scholastic age players, that's normal. You're honestly, you're a kid, so that's your job. But I think you're too good for that, Although there'll probably be a lot of strong players. Judging by the way that how strong the Indian players are, even like an unrated 30-10 is probably filled with strong players. So I won't say you're guaranteed to win it. There's probably a few GMs in there who are rated like 1300. Okay, Astrobate's first game. We've got time for more games. Wow, there's a Grandmaster playing. Man, his rating points are like going to be feasted on by the 1300s. We've got Astrobate, Oh Burst Gun. Oh Burst Gun. Astrobate's white, it's E4. Guys, please support the stream and donate. Thanks to all of you guys for subscribing. Repun, HTFP. Uh-oh. HTFP is not a subscriber any longer. Is that right, or you just don't have it listed? I've been timed out too much lately. Mr. Coffee is a subscriber. Asterbait, Repun, 8-month subscriber. Guys, don't forget to donate and support the stream. In my state, there's only one GM. Wow. How many states are there in India? Uber driver with the Cheer 10K badge. 29. It's a lot. It's not as many as the 50, but it's still a lot. Alright. Yeah, watch out for those. Watch out for the 800 players. Repun, is that tournament like rated in some way? Is the typical state tournament there? You can't feed a classical rated with that time control. Well, anything faster than. How does it work? I don't know what that time control even counts as. Is 30 plus 10 like rapid? It sounds like it's too long for rapid and too short for classical. I don't know what that would be. That's a weird time control. 30 plus 10. I think FIDE have to be 60 minutes to be like classical rated. Yeah, I'm sure. There's not enough tournaments rated in India. I saw someone complaining about the inaccuracies of the rating system, and what they fail to realize is that the real problem is that we could solve the rating system problem with people being inaccurately rated if we made tournaments free. You know, I think that's the solution. To make tournaments being rated free, and then every tournament can be rated, or not absolutely free, but really cheap or something, you know, affordable. I had another idea yesterday. What about if FIDE did it this way, like the way that Twitch charges for subscriptions? Could the World Chess Federations agree that maybe it would be like on a sliding fee according to your standard of living? You know, so some countries would pay less, and some countries would pay more. Like tournaments in India would be cheaper, and Africa would be cheaper. Maybe they would pay $1, it would be like $5 in Canada or the United States. I think that would be a cool way to do it. You know, the same way that Twitch is charging for. I don't know if the world could agree. It's not that way already. HTFP, I don't know. I would assume not. I don't know enough. I would assume not. Maybe it is, for all I know. But I would think there'd be more tournaments rated in India if it was done that way. I would think there's just like a set fee that everyone has to pay. So in like poorer countries, no one even gets tournaments rated. No fun. Well, tournaments are, you know, I just don't see the reason why like the International Chess Federation has to charge a lot of money for tournaments. One guy could run an entire rating system basically. I joked about this in his mom's basement or something. They really don't need to charge an exorbitant amount of money to maintain the rating system. That's the primary job of FIDE, one of the primary jobs. And I think like the solution that would be the best for everybody would be for the International Chess Federation to find sponsors from companies instead of sponsoring the freaking World Championship. Why not have companies sponsor, you know, the rating system? I mean, then everybody could have their tournaments, everyone could play, we could get the rating system fixed, and we wouldn't have like 1200s playing like grandmasters. But whatever. Alright, no more chess politics. E4, E5, Knight C3, the Vienna game by Asterbait. Black's most dynamic move is Knight F6, putting pressure on the center. Instead, we see knight to c6, symmetrical, unionize. F4. The Teamsters Union is coming back. Maybe we get the mafia involved. F6 like Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa of the chess world. Nancy, what's your name again? F6. My God, man. Nancy, let me know your name again. I always forget. F6. What in the world are you thinking? Horrible. Look at that diagonal. Diagonal! F6 is really bad, but I mean, what we don't want to do here is like take and then have him get the pawn off of F6 to E5. We have nothing there. So you want to, yeah, you definitely don't want to, you don't want to take on E5 here. Yeah, I tried to ask. I'm just going to psychically guess his screen name. I don't know, a lot of people are like chat banned, so when they submit games to me, I don't get a notification. Probably he's one of those people who's chat banned, or shadow banned. The Shadow Minister. I didn't get a message from the Shadow Minister. Shadow Ministers have to tell me their names. Alright, so Bishop C4. Well, that looks interesting, right? Astrobate, one of his favorite themes is like doing this. But I can't imagine like Bishop C4 is a bad move. Now Knight H6. Actually, that's one of Black's better responses. In the situation, I guess. Situation. I don't know, the next move seems counterintuitive to me. Do guess the elo. Well, the elos are right there, so that's not very fun. You guys can see it. It's a little small on the screen. But the names are there. They look really small because I have my screen scrunched up a bit. I'm going to try to find a good size for the board here. Yeah, but I mean, you know, F5 by Astrobate now. I mean, is closing the position really the right idea here? My intuition is that it's not. I'm sure that it's not terrible, but I kind of have to say I don't really think that's right. ELO. Yeah, D3 looks better. What we want to do is maybe like rip that knight when he has to take with the pawn at some point later. Yeah, so I think Astrobate should be more patient here. Keep the tension. Yeah, it's not like Black's threatening anything. So if you play D3, he'll play like D6. You know, I mean, already like this might be a threat. Because if knight takes, you take on H6. And I think that structure is really pretty ugly for Black. I mean, yeah, I mean, this looks really good. Check. I mean, possibly Black has some in-between move like Bishop G4. But I doubt that's an issue. White has a huge advantage. So the threat there, Black would probably take back with the pawn, threatening this. Now you could play knight f3, continue to threaten bishop takes h6. Or you could wait and not play pawn takes pawn right away, but just simply wait one more move, like knight f3. Probably keeping the tension is the best idea. Alright? I'm going to go off on record and say that. The computer doesn't agree. Wow, the computer actually likes that, the last line we looked at, taking right away. It likes taking right away. Alright, now this I didn't talk about actually. Because we're not threatening bishop takes h6 yet. Huh. So there's a check, but that doesn't seem to do anything. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the computer likes this so much. I agree with keeping the tension here. I don't like closing it up, though. I don't agree with closing it up. You're still better, but it's counterintuitive. Why do you want to close it up when you have like a dynamic edge in terms of development and king safety? Closing it up probably makes him a little safer in a sense. Okay, now you're threatening queen h5. So what should black play? His options include, but not limited to, knight e7, trying for like smothered mate, knight f7, queen e7, freeing up the d8 square and the possibility of knight d8 and castling queenside, like an England gambit or something. That's probably up there with like the top moves. That actually allows knight d5 though. Yeah, I guess it's not good. So it really looks like he has to do something like knight e7, possibly this actually. Maybe he should play like bishop c5 and just put his king on f8. But I mean, yeah, you might lose. You might lose tactically because of the mates on f7. If you take, I take, you know, you're getting mated on f7. Anyways, okay, d6. I think he's got a problem now. Oh, this is bad. What? This has to be right. I keep forgetting you haven't opened up this diagonal yet. Oh my god. So that's why you had to play d4, right. The Sleaze-O-Matic 300. Ancillary Mary, okay. Thank you. Yeah. And he takes the material on c2. So what about this position? I mean, does black have a chance here? You're not getting away if you try to play like c6, queen f7 check, bishop e7. Material is what? White's up a piece temporarily? I don't think black's alright here. So he takes, king d1, grabs the material, and is there a mate now? Doesn't seem to be a mate. It's close though. So he took there. Yeah, Astrobate's lost his skill in like forced mates. Used to be an expert in forced mates. I mean, you obviously can escape out here if you don't have bishop e5 check. Okay, so that's the answer. If bishop takes g7, you have like bishop e5 check. That's nice. That's so nice. Bishop e5 check is mate because of c6, queen here, queen e7 and mate. So bishop g7's cute. The computer like move. Check. Only move. And then you just knight f6. Nice. Yeah, pretty weak player for a 1679 though. I mean, I guess he was just totally off his rocker here with f6. Look at the lichess. This has been played 2,689 times in lichess. It's horrible. I mean, it's one thing to do like d6, you know, and maybe later you could play f6, g6, bishop g7 or something like really stodgy. But to play f6 unprovoked, yeah, I mean, we're not going to be an idiot and like take here, you know. That's a really bad move. Okay, Astrobate, easy one. All right, let's see if this game has been sent in. Sent in. Ancillary Mary. 2231 in Blitz. Oh, this game for next week. That was sent. Okay, we didn't get it in last time. Right. Got it. I had another player that might have submitted a game, but I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure if they're even a subscriber. You have to be a subscriber to the stream to submit a game. Well, you should be. Anyway. I'll make some exceptions for large donations. Turkey Farm is here! What's up? How are things on the turkey farm? Turkey Farmer. Just... I was talking about 100 Kojaks. Testosterone. I missed your name, Testosterone. Too many Kojaks in the same room is an overdose in testosterone. Alright, second game. Move 11 not here today. Where is he? It's Thursday and we have only 2 gift subs this week. Mr. Coffee, Agnes Kardusky, and the Cheese Mate with donations. You've been chilling here a lot, but lurking. Okay. Game submitted for stream is Mr. Coffee. Mr. Coffee's first game submission for many months. Yeah, since like the pandemic, basically. Microplastics. I was telling Astrobate before the stream, scientific studies have shown that 17 out of 22 people tested have microplastics in their blood. Is that disturbing or what? Alright. You are a subscriber. Princess Chess 64. What does this 64 stand for anyway? Almost 2 years, woohoo. Princess Chess is a pandemic follower. I'm 1892. It was a good year. I'm almost that old. Tejas. I'm not going to go to chess.com. If you want to import the game and bring it to lichess and submit it to me, that's fine. Absolutely. I don't like saying that word either. If you're responsible for importing the game to lichess and then send it to me, and I'll do it. No problem. You won't be the first person that did that. Chess is chess. That's an old friend of mine. Used to say that all the time. Chess is chess. I think he was making fun of another guy who used to say this sort of stupid expression. We weren't sure what it means. He was like, chess is chess. What? What does that mean exactly? Princess Chess, thank you very much for subscribing. Guys, we have 5 games submitted. I expect move 11 along later. Brain fog a little better today. Okay, so this was Mr. Coffee with white. D4, knight f6. Whoa! He plays c4. Mr. Coffee had been playing all closed queen pawn games as long as I remember. So it's kind of funny to see him play, you know, a proper queen pawn game. I've decided to start playing more d4 on the stream. Kind of refresh my. I'm much stronger with d4. Refresh my. I'm not a natural e4 player. It's like kind of like playing e4 is like bowling left-handed or something. I don't know, man. It feels like I'm left-handed. I do everything right-handed. I've been playing e4 a lot online for the last couple of months, but it's still, at the end of the day, I'm not ambidextrous. I can't play both equally. I'm still better, much better. As much as I'd like to be a good e4 player, it just doesn't come as naturally. e6, knight c3, bishop e4, and now Mr. Coffee facing the Nimzo. I mean, by the way, I think it's tough to face the Nimzo. Coffee, I mean, maybe you should kind of wean yourself onto d4 slowly, or the mainline d4 more slowly with like knight f3. I mean, I think, to be fair, like the Nimzo is pretty tough. But okay, I mean, it's very principled to play knight c3. I think knight f3 is a little easier. But so you play like one of the most, you know, critical lines in the queen pawn games immediately, Capablanca. The danger here is that you get far behind in development with white. You know, your king's in the center. All three king's-eye pieces are not moved yet. And the same thing applies to other lines like f3. This is even worse because you're obviously, you know, it's not easy to learn how to play the white side of the Nimzo. But anyway, good on you for trying. Move 11's done a lot of work. I mean, he works really hard on his openings and his game, and he's improved a lot. I think he's very close to master level now, by US standards at least. Although he still has a propensity to make like blunders from time to time. Mr. Coffee. So castle. Now the main line is a3. Mr. Sumaher, who's maybe lurking out there somewhere, he usually plays like knight f3. Knight f3 is safe. Kramnik played knight f3. I mean, it's like, it's not the most aggressive way of playing the classical Nimzo. A3 is the main line, but it's time consuming. So Mr. Coffee plays knight f3, and now black has a choice. I was even joking that you can play h6 here. That's an actual variation, but let's go to the master's database. Never mind, h6 is not a variation. Not this position. Okay. c5, d5, d6. Uno, dos, tres. How about rook e8? Ahmed Adli. Nah, I don't like b6. It's c5, d5, or d6. So move 11 likes d5. Basically, it's now essentially a Rogozin Queen's Gambit where you've played Queen c2. Well, it's not essentially, it is, in fact. Arsenal fan, welcome. Grab those two cowboys. Tejas just submitted a game. Cowboys for Trump. I said I'm not going to talk about politics. Alright, we're in the wrong game now. No politics anymore. It's too stressful. Alright, d5. The only thing worse than politics is like talking about music, taste in music. D5. Now, Mr. Coffee, you have to play pawn takes pawn. You just don't really have an option here. Bishop G5, maybe? Or E3. You played E3, and it's not a terrible move. You see it's only played in a handful of games. But the problem is, you're basically playing like a hybrid of the E3 variations and the classical. Whatever it is, it's okay, but it's not like, it's just not dangerous for sure. Okay, but for a start, you know, you're at least probably not worse. You're like randomly playing Queen C2 in a Rubinstein E3 formation, which is, it's not clear that Queen C2 is going to be appropriate maybe in all situations. So move 11 I recommended here for him. Yeah, play the move he played. I like the move he played. I would also probably play B6. I think I like B6 best. Mr. Coffee, you could face your own setup. I mean, you're going to be facing like the Kohli-Kotnowski in reverse, essentially. I don't know if you realized that during the game. Yeah, it is a Rogozin, right? Arsenal. Of course. But technically, he's supposed to play like pawn takes pawn first. Black has the option to play it. Why couldn't Black play knight takes, actually? Is that for sure bad? Because of knight g5 or something crazy? I guess you're just losing a tempo here. It's like a bad tempo loss for Black. It's not great. It's like a tempo down semi-Tarash or something. Yeah, so he has to take with the pawn. Take bishop g5 is like mainline Carlsen Rogozin variation. Yeah, this is like how Dreyev lost against Carlsen in the World Cup a couple years ago. I mean, this is experimental. To do it like without that, I don't know what happens if like Black takes on c4 or something. That's probably a good, that looks like a good Vienna variation. I mean, Queen c2 I'm not sure is really like that relevant. I have a message here. Camel Culture. Did somebody make Camel Culture a subscriber? Camel Culture, you have to be a subscriber. So if he's not a subscriber still, I think he is though. I think someone gift subbed him. If he's not a subscriber, somebody's gonna have to gift sub him. That's the rule. Alright, how many submissions? We're gonna see that right now. You are. Yeah, that was like 2 weeks ago. Someone gave you a gift sub. So you're still a sub. Submissive. Submissive master. Okay. Yep. We've got 7 games thus far. Mr. Arsenal. Now every time I add a new game, I get kicked out of the game I'm analyzing, which is annoying. So, alright. What? Yeah. Okay, anyway. Okay, this is passive. What you did is passive, but it's okay. It's a typical, like, noob variation. I get this a lot in Blitz. They'll also do, like, bishop d2. e3, queen c2, and bishop d2. They'll overkill. I guess move 11 could play c5. Then you'd probably take his bishop out, I would imagine. It's like a mainline Nimzo where you've played queen c2 in a weird position. It's very strange. I mean, there's hardly any games where this has been done. I like b6 better. Like, giving Black the option to keep his bishop and bring it back. I think that's probably best. You submitted a game. It's only the chat band guys that always submit games here. I like that submission from Camel Culture. It's easier with the non-chat band. Oh no, did you send it on... You sent it on Twitch. Alright. Arsenal, it's amazing you haven't been banned on Twitch yet. How did you not get chat banned on Twitch? Copy. Alright. Infusion. What am I gonna do? New window. Wait, where's my study? Add a new chapter. Learn, study. I'm in the study. What's the problem here? Tools, analysis board. Oh no. Paste. Whatever. No, I got it. It's cool. Wow, 16 sent upon loss. Mr. Coffee just gifted a tier 1 sub to Mr. Trip Chance. I'm like baking in here in my office. It's like March 24th. It's either like freezing or hot. Now it's hot. And I can't open the windows because of the freaking ambulance sirens. It drives me nuts. I never realized the difference in sounds in the city. If you're on the street level, you don't hear constantly like the ambulance sounds. But if you're on like the 5th floor of a building, on the top of the building, on the roof level, all I hear is ambulance sounds all the time. It's extremely annoying. That's why we have the ambulance emote. Okay, Arsenal fan, game 8. Can you guys stop submitting games so I can get through this one? I like B6 a lot. Anyway, alright, Mr. Coffee plays CD. So knight takes... is probably playable here. Not as bad as the other position, because white hasn't played, like, white doesn't get to play e4 with a full tempo. I mean, theoretically, knight takes d5 is possible. Anyway, this is the point. Pawn takes. And now Mr. Coffee, I felt, went wrong. Thomas Treinson, welcome. We need to sync. Mr. Coffee, are you in the study? What are you doing? You're not in the study. You can't be in the study. Who's in the study? Is Yabatis here? Yabatis, are you messing with the study? How did I just get, like, kicked from one game to another? That's weird. It was like I wasn't synced. Why, how am I'm not synced with myself? I don't understand, how do I get unsynced with myself? If there's no one else in the study, how am I getting unsynced? I'm synced now, but it was like someone else was in the study or something. That we weren't synced with each other. You think I should unsync? I think he should just stop messing with the study. So, Mr. Coffee, you know, you played very passively here. But I guess you were afraid of c5. I'd like to get your perception on this. You're basically playing a Kolly-Kotlowski in reverse, like you're black in the Kolly-Kotlowski. My assumption was that you feared c5, and you didn't like it attacking your bishop or something. But I think you got to do it. You know, I don't know, man. Well, he's got no bishop g4 yet. Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be relevant. That's not going to be relevant until he's got e5 covered. I told him that maybe his best move is a6. So we were looking at this. If bishop d3, a6, with the idea of bishop d6. This is like a normal mainline e3 Nimzo, except your queen is on c2. Whereas normally the queen would be back here on d1. Doctor Chance. Yes, in bullet or 3-0. H4 is a good idea. You've been hanging out with Eric Rosen too long. And playing in like Scholastic Bullet tournaments. No, this is not a legitimate idea. H4 is not a real move. That's something you play when you're hitting the bong with friends. In an all-night blitz session. But I don't think that H4 is a good move, you know, objectively. No, we don't want, you want to do it without bishop d3. It doesn't matter. I mean, this is insane coffee house, Emery Tate smoking dope move, you know. No. It's totally against principles. So bishop e2 is Mr. Coffee's choice. I mean, this is much more aggressive, and I guess after c5 it's okay. I mean, we just castle. It looks like a couple people, because if c4, I guess you can play bishop e2 back. Theoretically, you could play here, but it's black's bad bishop. So I don't know if that's that appealing. You guys are crazy. Alright, Mr. Coffee plays bishop e2. And then, I was surprised by move 11's next move. Like, I don't understand why he wants to play knight on bd7 here. Because in the Fortuna Chess Coach, welcome. I noticed you streaming yesterday. I was too tired to watch anybody else, though. I played a couple blitz games and then went to bed. Knight on bd7's not great. He wants to get c5 and he wants to get pressure on your center. Bishop e6, yeah. If you want to play it like that, yeah. Actually, Uber driver, I guess I didn't think of that. It's like a Tartakover. Yeah, I mean, you could play that way. Sure. Theoretically, it's a move. Trying to play for hanging pawns with the bishop on e6. But I think the proper thing to do is probably a6. Same plan. Bring the bishop back. So like a3, bishop d6, b4. I had a game like this with Alexander Lesiege once, where I was black. I remember I lost. But I think if black plays it right, he has a decent position. Interesting question. Yeah, that bishop, if it goes to b7, it seems kind of bad. That's why you're talking about bishop on e6. Black doesn't have to do this, by the way. I mean, there are many different ways to play this position. But I think he should just play like c5. I mean, if a3, bishop a5. Arsenal fan, the only thing is, like, you have to be a little careful, like, even though you're trading your bad bishop for the good bishop, I guess. There are some loose squares on the white squares, so it's possible. Your move is plausible. You could play that. You could play knight. Yeah, bishop a6 is a move. But you got to be careful those squares aren't bad. You know, this square looks a little weak. Queen c8. You know, I don't know. Yeah, it's playable, I guess. You got to watch for this. There doesn't seem to be anything immediate, but I'm looking at black's position, you know, looking more than, I'm looking for more. I mean, honestly, this bishop's really passively placed on e2. So I don't mind bishop b7. Here. No, I don't know. Another move for Mr. Coffee is like rook d1. Trying to discourage maybe c5. But white doesn't have a very inspiring position. He plays a3, and now black plays bishop e7. One thing I looked at with move 11 was this. He has rook e8, actually. This is an interesting move, even the move before. I think rook e8 right away. There's a couple of games here with the idea of bringing the bishop back all the way to f8 and turning it into a fianchetto later on. b3, a4, bishop a3, any good for white? Yeah, I mean that's a standard. That's kind of a standard plan to trade off the dark square bishop, maybe. So move 11 had to waste time with like bishop e7. Obviously the problem is bishop d6 walks into knight b5. So that's a common idea in the Kulikotnowski. Mr. Coffee playing against his own favorite setup. Now bishop d2, do we have to do that? See, there's a Jan World game here from 2000. He's later becoming a grandmaster, of course. Beryl, I mean my Dutch pronunciation sucks. b4. b4 seems legitimate, and we don't know where that bishop's going to go yet. But bishop d2 is quite like passive, and now move 11 gets in c5. So I would say he has a pretty good position. But here you should think about knight e5. This is one of Fortuna Chess's relatives. Dr. Jonathan Ray Fortune. Dr. Fortune. Legendary correspondence player. But I think, Mr. Coffee, what about it? Can we do this? Like, takes. Something similar to this happened in the game. You might want to go for knight e5 before it's too late. Like, seriously. f4. Dr. Fortune. Dr. Jonathan Ray Fortune. You know when people have like 4 names in the Opening Explorer, it's a correspondence game. Or like 4 initials. Dr. MJLH Fortune. So it's basically computer versus computer. Yeah, Mr. Coffee didn't play b4. He didn't play knight e5. He handled the position very, very passively. And now, move 11 played rook e8. You see there's a game here by a certain guy named Asayev. He was a really well-known grandmaster. He played rook c8. I don't know whatever happened to Asayev. Probably out there somewhere. But rook c8 seems more consistent. He's going to hit you with the queenside majority. Move 11 just plays like a routine move. Rook a c1. Bishop f8, so he wasted a move on bishop e7, and now Mr. Coffee doesn't know what to do. Now it's too late to play knight e5. So you've got a problem. I thought about the shelf. We joked about this shelf, the elf shelf, the shelf queen. Queen a4 was mentioned, but I don't think so. This is a common maneuver, like to stick the knight on h3. Knight, whatever. Queen g6, queen h3. But I looked at this with the engine. But it turns out you have queen f4. I think in this kind of structure, the shelf queen is normal. Not unusual anyway. But I mean, yeah, you've got to be careful. Like, he can molest your queen here. I mean, I guess white's kind of like got to be careful not to be worse. I mean, queen g4, draw by repetition style thing. But you're very passively placed. So I think a draw is there like a reasonable result? I don't know. But you tried something provocative on the queen side. We agreed. You also got to look for like pawn sacks. I don't think that's going to work though. We agreed, like, I guess you should try queen f5 or bishop e1. No, bishop e1 is a logical continuation. What would Artur Yusupov do in the Kali system, Mr. Coffee? I mean, bishop e1 is like a classic Yusupovian move, with the idea of this bishop coming out later on this diagonal. Yusupovian. The only thing is, like, you didn't play knight e5 and you didn't play f4, so now you have no Pillsbury bind here. Move 11 is going to play rook c8 and you have to get your queen off the c file. What happened was, Mr. Coffee played this. This is probably bad. What should Mr. Coffee do? Bishop e1, I guess. Trying to put pressure down the d file. But he played this, and black should just play c4 and then push, you know, start pushing, and he's just better. I mean, white doesn't have any counterplay here. Capablanca would have killed you. You know, that was like his favorite plan. You don't have any counterplay. You can't play e4. He has absolutely totally dominated e4. So if he plays c4, you're going to have to retreat, and he's just going to start marshalling the forces on the queen side. The best you have is something desperate like that. And we actually looked at him taking with the d pawn. This looks very strong. You know, total domination of e4. He was afraid your center would get at control. I mean, this is like a safer recapture. Say that happens, it's not as scary for white. But still black's better. Well, anyway, we'll see what happened here. Mr. Coffee played it badly with queen b3. He was lucky black didn't play c4. And now what happened? Bishop e5. And I guess he again could play c4. He plays a6, takes, and I told him he should have played knight takes. Wasn't it this position? Yeah. He has knight takes. Knight takes d7. You can't take this because of c4. So you have to do like that. And then he would take, unfortunately, he'd have to take with a knight. And at least you'd be playing against an IQP on d5, I guess. Yeah. Maybe you can survive here. I think I like prefer black, but only slightly, because the pawn is stuck now. Maybe it's not really better for black. I don't know. g6, bishop e1. I don't think that black is worse, for sure. Contrarian has spoken. Okay. Bishop takes d7, and then c4 in between move. And this was just a miscalculation. Move 11 simply missed that white can sack the queen. And so he's lost. Takes, takes, takes. It's too many pieces for the queen. It's just too many pieces for the queen. It's 2 minor pieces and a rook for the queen. It's too much. No. My bad. It's not too many pieces for the queen. Yeah, 2 minor pieces and a rook for the queen, right. So I think that he's lost here. Black's lost here. But white's in time pressure, first of all. I think he should try to do something crazy like bishop d6. Forget about the a pawn. Go for your king, like bishop d6, bishop a6, g5 or something. He should go nuts. He's lost, man. But Mr. Coffee was in time pressure. Here, here. This has a little bit of play. Here, here. And obviously, like, taking would fix his pawns a little bit. So I thought you played well. You just took knight c3. I mean, I didn't like that for black. Trading pieces doesn't help him. And now he's really desperate. Mr. Coffee's just totally winning. And then this. The last chance. But seriously now, here, here. And you could just play like bishop g2 if you want to and give him the pawn and just walk away. I thought that was like the simplest. Mr. Coffee was greedy and he played like that. King g7 and then back. But this is good too. You eliminated the f7 pawn that could drive your knight away. That's fine. Queen h2 check, king f1, and the bishop guards. You're greedy but good. And you're just totally winning. So I think there was just this was a blunder. Mr. Coffee just blundered now. Knight takes g4. And he's still winning even after the blunder. But it's far more complicated now. Because now we're talking about 3 pawns, a rook, and a bishop for a queen. So Mr. Coffee gave him a draw because they had somebody had to go, I think. But still white is better. Right? Even in the final position, you're winning. Okay, it's not that easy. It's a little bit weird, but certainly in time pressure, not so simple. As the computer makes it look. But I think a lot to be drawn from that game. Alright, next game is Sumaher. Sumaher's not here, is he? Sumager. Guys, thanks for joining and for being subscribers. We had Princess Chess resubscribe. Didn't someone else subscribe? Am I hallucinating? Mr. Coffee sent a gift sub for Dr. Tripchance a little earlier. Appreciate that. Mr. Coffee with 500 bits. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Mr. Coffee, for an interesting game. I hope you get to play more often now. What about, like, your studies? Are you less busy with your studies and work? Alright. Sumaher with white. This is Sumaher against some FM. So h3, this is his favorite variation. It's a good line. I think very hard to play the black side of the Makaganov King's Indian. I don't enjoy it. It's definitely one of white's best variations. We've already talked about this on my stream before, but statistically, like, okay, you don't have to play h3 immediately. There are other move orders like bishop e3, knight f3 and h3. But h3, look at the statistics. Of all the moves, it's pretty definitive. h3 has the highest winning percentage for white and the lowest losing percentage. Yes. Yes, Arsenal. And that's critical. Black can transpose to a Benoni, and I don't think it's any worse than anything else. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, I almost rather play the black side of the Benoni than the freaking... These closed setups with e5 for black are really daunting. I think I'd rather play the black side of the Benoni. Yeah, I mean, c5 is a huge option. Castles... But now bishop e3, you know, discourages c5, of course. It appears to be a gambit. No, there's queen a5, right? If c5 takes queen a5. But yeah, I mean, if you want to play c5 right away, let's see. Jay Bonin used to play this. I don't know how Jay's doing. Jay was in the hospital really sick. I guess taking's not a problem because of queen a5. Gingy versus Byrne. Roman 1 assist is nothing, though. Remember, once I lost to Kaidanov in a position like this. Black seems okay here. c6, e5, and you don't castle. That's not the greatest. Castling in the King's Indian classical is usually necessary. Alright. Yeah, I like c5 Arsenal. Transposing. Yeah, so I saw Jay do that. You can try like b5 as a Benko, but I don't think it's particularly good. It's funny, the h3 turns out to be a good move against the Benko there. Like b5 takes, a6. Is h3 really often played against the Benko? Well, it's not. It's not a proper Benko, so we can't play like bishop a6 and bishop takes f1. So that's not so hot. But the Benoni is okay. Definitely, it's okay. We're gonna transpose to a main line. Castle, bishop d3. Yeah, I mean, I would stick with that. f4. Well, f4 and h3 probably don't gel. All right, so castles, bishop e3, and now this is possible. f4 here, f4 in this kind of position. It's similar to the Averbach. Speaking of f4, yeah, this doesn't look like a very reliable variation. If black wants to play the Benoni, you should play it right away. So now white's move order sort of prevents c5, you could say. You can do a knight a6, king's Indian. I've played that a lot. I lost this position to Shabalov with black. I thought something similar. He plays e5. Okay, so like classical d5, and now knight h5. This is like a very old continuation. I mean, I don't know if this is normally done. It looks like an absolutely standard variation. But I mean, there's no games there. Vladimir Zemarov from First Saturday. I remember killing that guy. And the Gingy Indian. Queen d2. So I don't like this. Queen d2. Isn't the idea to play g3? The Kasparov had crazy game in some Makaganov system. There are weird sacrifices with like knight f4, but I don't think that's gonna fly here. I mean, what's black gonna do? You're supposed to play g3. You prevent f5. This isn't even possible, right? Because I just like take. Black's like lost. So he has to play queen e8 normally, I thought, to protect the knight on h5 and shadow the white king here, and to set up sort of tricks like that. Maybe there. Dr. Tripchance, in King's Indians like this, h3 can be a weakness if black starts attacking in the king's side, I think. If it was that easy, black wouldn't be like facing 44%, losing to white. So if f5 now, well, I mean, what does white play after queen e8? That's the question. Bishop e2, knight f4. You can't do this, right? So you have to do this. This is very close to a known variation, but something is slightly off. I guess the bishop on e3. Right. But now there's a problem, like takes. And you can't take with the pawn. And if you take with the bishop, as always, you get forked with g4. You know, if you're like Garry Kasparov, you're getting your knights to like a6 and b4, but it's too slow here. It looks like white is just winning. You can't get forked. So you're going to have to like sacrifice a piece or something. I mean, sacrifice a pawn. So let's say black does that, like does that or something. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. That looks like the best you could do is like just sacrifice a pawn. But I kind of doubt it, you know. I think a small reason why black scores in King's Indian lines are so poor is many people don't play it full time. Well, I mean, this is an all-time, you know, modern database. I think the Makhaganav grew in popularity over the last 30 years, and it's just scored well. It's definitely contributed to the people. The amount of people that play the King's Indian has gone down. It was like the most popular defense when I was growing up in the late 80s, and it was probably black's single most popular defense to d4. Now it's like maybe not even in the top 3 or 4 objectively. I think computers have you know, have shown by evaluation that it's bad, but that doesn't mean in practice it's necessarily bad. Yeah, I mean, Kramnik contributed. No, we didn't get to your game yet. There's a lot of reasons why King's Indian stopped being popular as much as it used to be. I personally don't like having a spatial disadvantage as much as I used to. Alright, anyway, so this may not be a bad move, by the way, but I mean, black can play f5. I mean, white's kind of playing it like a same-ish, but what's up with f5? I don't think the way that Sumaher played here is correct. It looks like black got away with murder. He has to play that g3 move. This is not enough. I think the black should be alright now. Maybe more than alright. Of course, you always have to be careful, as in the same-ish. Karpov played the same-ish with white, and he won a lot of nice games with well-timed tie breaks, pawn breaks, well-timed tie breaks, well-timed pawn breaks. I mean, theoretically, this is Sumaher's good bishop, right? The pawns are on dark squares for black, white squares for white, and he's trading off his dark square bishop. I imagine black is better now. Computer says plus 0.4. Alright, live and learn. No, I don't think this is a correct approach by white. Takes, and now... Yeah, it's a tough one. Which way to recapture? You know, there is an interesting move the computer was suggesting here, queen f6. I mean, this, anytime you play this, it's answered by knight a6. That's not a problem. Queen f6 would have secured the king side more. I really like these pawns. So Nemsev, Igor Nemsev. I think I've heard of Igor Nemsev. Alright, knight a6, bishop g7. Yeah, so this is a little bit shaky. His king is shaky, his knight is shaky. And I would also consider taking back with a knight, like a check Benoni. Maybe the queen would have been better on g7. Shadow Minister. I don't like bishop e2. I think I would just castle. He plays bishop e2, black plays knight f4. And now what are you going to do? Like, go back? Maybe you should. It's too slow, though. I mean, this is... I don't know. It looks slow. So he just gives up his bishop? I don't care. What about black, like, taking this? Is that crazy? Am I crazy to want to take that? I guess we don't have to take it right away, but it could go back to f1. There are also scary tactics, like knight d4 at some point. Is f4 too greedy? What? You mean for black? Where? Oh, like now, doing f4? Like that? Well, it's not greedy. I mean, you're closing off the king side and giving up the e4 square to some degree. But positionally, it's justified. I mean, you're trading off your bad bishop for white's good bishop. Although now the other bishop will be relevant here. I don't know. White also has a break with g3 later. It's one of the toughest decisions in the King's Indian, when to play f4, honestly. I like staying fluid here for black. I mean, if you study the games of really good King's Indian players, Arsenal fan, like Leonid Stein, he had beautiful games. I mean, he could make, like, this bishop on the long diagonal could open up. I don't know, if you look at, like, Geller and Bronstein and Leonid Stein and these great King's Indian players from, like, the 60s, I would want to kind of hang out and keep the flexibility alive. But I didn't expect white to go for bishop h6. I mean, Sumaher is just playing like a blitz game here. His plays kind of surface. Castle queenside, king h8, now g3. And now the next move, I don't know, I have a problem with this. Seriously. Black played knight g6 here. Is it just me? I mean, I have a problem with that. That knight, is that really a good move? Are you sure? IVYM subscribed, 30 months. 17-month streak. I know this is supposed to be a bad bishop, but I mean, I might rather trade for that bad bishop than have a knight on g6. But honestly, like Uber Driver's talking about e4 and knight e5. But I mean, if you play e4, then your pawns are static. You've got weakness on the dark squares, and your bishop sucks because it's blocked by the pawn on f5. I'm not sure we really want to play e4, Here you have an unopposed bishop. Like, knight takes, queen takes. What about this guy? If he gets in the game, I still think, like, bishops are stronger than knights. What if you play f4 there, for example? Now your bishop's starting to come to f5. Well, you've got to watch out for piece sacrifices, I guess. But I'm not sure that works. Like, seriously. Black's clearly better. This is a huge mistake, a misjudgment. Look at the evaluation. Wow, there's knight e4. Look at that move. That's crazy complications. I would never play knight g6. This is why I'm a strong FM and he's a weak FM. Because I don't play this move, I mean, I know a bad bishop that's not that bad. That is a bad bishop that's not that bad. I'm definitely taking that. No, black's got to be happy here. Take, and if nothing else, you could play like a5. Your knight is good. Black's fine. But I have a strong FM rating. I'm degenerating. Self-deprecating humor. Alright, knight g6 is horrible. Yeah, I think his ideas do something like Uber Driver was saying. Look at the target. Now he has to do e4. Absolutely. So check here. Takes. Knight d4. And what I don't like for black is that now his bishop is blocked by his own pawns. Look at this bishop. Formerly bad bishop. That's suddenly not so bad. It's like half bad and half good. Knight e5. And then white finds a weakness. This is a shallow game, man. I mean, it's blitz. It's a blitz game. I don't understand what's happening now. f7's attacked. Can we defend it? Oh, he just checks and goes for the exchange. Okay. Check, here, take, check. Wow. So this is the highlight of the game. This actually reminds me of a game I played not that long ago. Who was that against? Mr. Slow. I had a simul game. I don't know if anybody would remember that, but like 2 weeks ago, I had a Mr. Slow simul game where it was a King's Indian with white. I also sacked the exchange. Ended up beating him. In a similar kind of ending. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful plan. So at the end of the day, black missed it. He should have just played like rook f7. It looks like after rook f7, black's fine. Yeah, he was overconfident. Check, take, bam. There's also the possibility of pawn takes. That should be considered. Yes? Because he might have this. Knight takes c7, rook b8. And black maybe has like knight here. Because you don't want to take and like have that and that coming down. But black just underestimated this exchange sack. So white has a good king coming in. Big weakness on c7. The bishop is restricted by the pawn on f5. That's important. Well, white isn't winning yet, Tejas. That's not what I'm saying here. White is not necessarily winning. White might not even be better. Maybe white's even still worse. But I see the writing on the wall, is all I'm saying. You know, I see how white could win. This is very similar to a game, you know, what I'm talking about that I played recently. Black should play... Yeah, if white gets control of f4, he could be really, like, lost. I mean, black could be lost. If I get this pawn on c7, blockade f4, and I have, like, 2 monster knights, get the pawn on d3, I'm seeing the position is, like, white has 2 pawns for the exchange, 2 monster knights, good outposts, and has, like, a clear advantage. So black needs to play for f4. Knight c7, rook b8, and now the knight is not trapped, so white has options here. One option is knight e8, actually, to hit d6. But I mean, it could still get trapped there. So white has to be careful about his choice of moves here. I'm not sure. It's a blitz game. Bishop d7, interesting. He's not interested in a7. I'm worried about f4 though. Maybe we should consider that, like has been suggested. This is important that this bishop gets active. You have to watch for that though. I mean, there's calculation here. Black should definitely try to play f4 as fast as possible. So he did. King d2, bang. f4. But the problem is that I don't like the way that white did this. Black can also take on b5. I think knight e4 maybe, but here, I mean, even here is probably a mistake. I think that knight b5 might be a mistake. This is interesting. Rook h6, I guess. But you would drive him away from that f4. Maybe that doesn't matter. I guess knight e8 isn't so good. It's going to get kind of trapped there. So this is tough. How about rook e1? Wow. Because imagine if you get your rook down there. Then it's really hard for black. No, I think Sumihara has better moves. I don't think this is good enough. It looks like black's okay here. This isn't good enough. A6 is a waste of time. It would be better just like hack this off. And then maybe play a6 on the next move. I guess it's coming back here. It's not so simple. But I guess I don't want to do a6. Let's just take. I mean, to be honest, it's a very tricky position. Take, check. What does white play? King d4. Rook takes g3, knight takes d6. Maybe black's better, but he has to be extremely careful. No, white's clearly better. Wow. Wow. Material is equal, but the engine gives white +3. I wouldn't have evaluated that. I thought that black still had the upper hand. It's a sharp position. I don't know. Yeah, this is clearly right. So black needs to play b5. He did. cb5, ab5. No, that was a good plan. Knight e4, rook h6. Looks like black might be hanging on here. I don't like this move at all, like taking on f4. But maybe I'm wrong again. Sumer just plays for time too much. I think this looks interesting, no? Rook c1. Threatening to penetrate with rook here. Oh, Arsenal's knight g5 is also strong. Yeah. This is strong. This is strong. But I don't really like this move. And now black just like lost his mind. He played b4. b4 is like you have all the time in the world to do whatever you want. Don't we need to pick this up or something? Can we just play like rook f8 maybe? I guess white would play king e3. It's not so simple. White's better, you know, even though he's down the exchange. b4 looks slow. Nice move. Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this. Oh my gosh, what? So now Sumer just did something crazy. He took, check, here. What? He just went berserk. Yeah, no. White is better here. White is better. Barely better, though. Wow. He was better until he took on f4. Oh, actually, he's winning. Rook e8, bishop e8, and f5. Yeah, he plays for time too much. Yeah. Yeah, he's just playing for the flag now, and that's the problem. It's a sudden death game, no problem. Yeah, it was a sudden death game. He just sort of abandoned his position and started just trying to win on time. But it was way too early, and actually white is worse. Black should be at least able to draw this. White might be lost. No. What if he had played rook d2 first? Oh man. King c4. Sorry. Yeah. It's a draw. It's amazing that it's a draw though. White could lose it still. It's winning now because he allows that pawn to go through. You gotta sack. Knight d5 is a problem. So, I don't know, rook here, rook f2, rook f8, I guess. It's a draw. Alright, anyway, it was a sloppy game. It was bullet. It was sudden death blitz. Let's go on to Ripun. Unfortunately, Sumer's submissions are always like blitz games. Here's another blitz game, but this one's 5+3. Thanks to everyone that's in here. Princess Chess, IVYM, everyone who's subscribed. I try to keep it serious, to be instructive. Repun knows he's not supposed to submit his games against me, let alone his wins against me. When is this from? This is from like 2 weeks ago. No, it was from what? It was from yesterday? No, it was from a month ago. Okay, now I understand. It was from a month ago. It said the 23rd. I was like, what? It was from February 23rd. You know you're not supposed to submit your games or you beat me. I played, it must have been a Wednesday. I played the Polish. I've only ever played this once in an over-the-board game. And I beat an IM. Shandor Kushtar. Shandor did something funny. He played e3 against me. You know, of course, e4 is the main line. Transposing to, well, a kind of normal Polish, like e4, b5. What am I talking about? A normal Polish with e4, b5. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's like a reverse Polish opening. Jim! So anyways, white played e4, black played... I don't really like this, you know. Bishop takes b5, bishop takes e4. Dorian said it's like good for white, and I agree. So I would rather play the St. George than play a bad Polish. Therefore a6. And now mostly people play like d4. I mean, the vast majority of my games are d4. I guess I've seen the occasional c4, King's Indian attack. But you played interesting early a4. And I'm sure that I faced it, but I never put too much thought into this. I think every time I played this position, I would probably play a different move. b4, bishop b7. Bishop b7 is possible, right? I could play that. Takes, bishop takes e4, knight c3, bishop here. But I mean, I'm a tempo down. So I mean, b4 seems like the main line. Okay, the only real game here is Bache versus Jeffrey Zhang. I noticed Jeffrey Zhang will occasionally play this. I also saw maybe one young American IM was playing the Polish or St. George. But I mean, you generally wouldn't want to do it against Bache or Legrave. I think it's kind of a bad idea at that level. Jeff. Alright, b4. And now d4. So essentially like a transposition. Taking an opponent's center pawn for a b pawn could be a long-term advantage. Yeah, I mean, that's the basic premise of the whole thing. If white doesn't play actively enough, that is an advantage. HTFP. So against weak players it works. White has to act very, very sharply. I have this book by Dorian where he talks about like offbeat openings, and he loves to go in like really long tactical variations where he's like showing how nasty it can get. Really beautiful sacrifices and stuff where black, you know, gets behind development. Dorian's book isn't about this though. He actually talks about like white playing the Polish. And even like with colors reversed, it can get really dangerous. So I'm talking about like b4, you know, e5, bishop b2, bishop takes b4, bishop takes e5, and Andras Shadorian gives tons of variations here, where you know white actually gets like tactically wrecked, because he ends up, although he's like getting a central pawn for the wing pawn, he's getting wrecked along the e file. There's all sorts of sacrifices. Tactical ideas. Black has to be really careful, but you know it's even worse if its colors reversed. So I don't know. I'm just playing normal moves here. He plays knight on bd2. I played what, c5. We're following Le Quang versus Mamedyarov. Oh, this is the guy. Okay, I never met him. It's a young guy, Cameron Wheeler. So he figured out something I figured out a long time ago, that playing the St. George is actually not that bad. But he's played it against pretty much strong players. Here's a 25-60. I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's a good idea to play it against 25-60s. I found it was very effective against WGMs and people who were like under 2300, you know. Maybe an IM at the outlier. You know, I wouldn't go higher than like 2380 or 2400 that I want to play this opening against. This is just arrogant to play it against the 25-60. So, c3, knight f6. Yeah, this is that same guy, see? He drew a 2200. Castles, and now I went off. I don't know what to do here. I made a mistake now. To be honest, I haven't been playing the St. George much, and I kind of forgot my mojo. But I'm 99% sure in a normal game I wouldn't have played what I played in the game here. I like what this guy did better. This is definitely superior to Queen C7. The idea is that on D5, we're not going to take it. Anyway, the way I play it is we're not going to take it, right? We're going to go here. And then there was this Russian guy years ago who used to play this. This really eccentric looking dude. I'm trying to remember. Chet Varick. I think he's like a FIDE master. I am. And I am named Chet Varick. He used to play this. So you like over here. Do you know Raoul from Harvard Square, Uber driver? So you do the Raoul, where you like maneuver your knight over to g6 on the other side. And it looks scary. I mean, I've had insane games here where this pawn could fall. I don't know, you know, knight g4. And we try to break with f6. It's extremely dangerous for black. Man, you don't know anything. Alright, anyway. Yeah, that's much better. This is a blunder. Well, at least it's not as good, I don't think. So Queen C7 looks kind of slow. Alright, maybe it's not that bad. D6 isn't great. Obviously white is better. Now I played bishop e7. I think it's too late for knight c6 now because of d5. Looks like I'm in trouble. Because this is like winning. Maybe not. I can take. And this is hanging. Knight c4. Maybe not. It looks super scary, but maybe I could get away with it. Could I get away with knight c6 here? I feel like it like loses. d5. So I wanna go where? Knight e7. It does win. Queen d6. Knight c4. Queen c7. Wow, e5. And you just keep going. Oh, you're just getting knight d6. Yeah. This is really ugly. Yeah, forget about it. No, I mean, it was a mistake to play Queen c7. I'm out of practice. You know, I haven't played the St. George much. If I was playing my A St. George game, I would never play Queen c7. That was totally not normal. It was a blitz game. I had 2 minutes, and I just decided to play Queen c7. I would always do this. This is totally standard. Anyway, this is a mistake. Rook e1. This is trying to salvage a bad situation. I realized now it was dangerous, so now I took. I guess it's okay to take, but it's not great. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what to do. It's like a bad Rolopez. Hype train conductor. Yeah, the problem is HTFP that, you know, half the times that I won, I mean, I was probably like -2. in this opening. I mean, it's normal for black to be -2 in the St. George defense. But it's so murky and strange that people get confused, you know. I'm not playing it because it's like correct. I mean, the point is to like confuse your opponent. And nobody's sitting there with their computer turned on knowing that it's like +2. But I don't really like this exchange. I don't know. I guess I should try like d6 or something now at this point. I ended up trying to play it like a French. This isn't so bad, actually. Anyway, okay, so where does this opening go back to? Like, Basman played it. I think Basman, I had a pamphlet that he wrote on it years ago. But Miles played it, and one of the points was that if white has moved his A pawn, okay, this is very important. If white hasn't moved his A pawn, this type of French setup isn't so good. But the general idea is that if white has moved the A pawn, the B3 square is slightly weak. So when they do like D5, E5, knight here, we don't necessarily have like a totally bad French because we can go here and we could stick our knight on A5 and try to threaten to like go in there. And then if white plays like B3, then we can try to like maybe work with something to do with the C3 square. There's some weaknesses on the queen side, in other words. If the white pawn is back on A2, there's very little counterplay. So you want white to either play A3 or A4. Otherwise, I wouldn't really want to play D5. But this is bad. I mean, he definitely should push. And I don't know that I can do this because my knight will get trapped by F3 in some future date. For example, like rook E2. What am I going to do after knight E1 and F3? I guess knight C6. Bishop E3. Is my knight going to get trapped by knight E1 and F3? It looks highly likely that my knight will get trapped. Maybe I could do like H6, right? And if knight E1, the knight comes back there. Only option. I saw an interesting example of, yeah, your other G6. Yeah, exactly. I saw an interesting example of this recently. But he plays this. I thought this was a mistake, and now I'm better. Well, at least I'm not worse. I have a totally normal position now. You know, white shouldn't do that. Now I have a normal IQP position. Black's completely fine. Knight here, bishop D2. And now I probably need to play accurately. I had 40 seconds, my opponent had 56. Bishop D5 was a strange move. It's funny, I thought I exchanged here, but I guess not. I mean, why didn't I just like take, knight F6? I mean, that's normally what I would do. And put my queen on B7. But I played that. You know, bishop D5 is sort of stupid. White has like rook C1. Bishop D5 was a big waste of time. Here, queen B7, knight F6, queen E2, castle, black's fine, bishop C2, and then, I don't know why I played rook FC8, rook AC1, and then I did A5, and then here, and now I decided to take on F3, but it's probably like holdable for white. I vaguely remember this now. Though I don't understand how I lost this position. I can see how I can't win. Honestly, I should have played, or considered at least playing F5. I guess he could come in here. And it's like a draw. I'm better now. And then I played that fateful move. F4 was the fateful move. Yes, black's better, of course. I have no losing chances. But it's a question of how the heck do I win? You know, it's probably a draw. So I decided to do this. I thought I've just got more space. Maybe I can do something on the e file. I don't know. But objectively, I'm just putting my pawn on the wrong color. And then again, another pawn on the wrong color. All my pawns are on brown squares. But I thought, okay, it's fine. It's no problem. Like, his bishop is... It's shut down. What's he gonna do, you know? So here's the moment of truth. He played h4. And... Again, I'm not really in any danger. But, I mean, there is the possibility of white, like, going to the h file. And if I abandon the open file, you know, I'll lose control of some key square like that. I have to watch out. So I had this cool idea. I was like, alright, I'll defend it with my bishop. You know, I'll take with a bishop so that I have an outside h-pawn. And I'll play for a win, you know. But he finds this brilliant move now, rook e1. And I'm like lost. I'm literally lost, I think, in one move. If I remember correctly, there's no defense after this, because he's suddenly threatening like rook e5 check, and hitting my bishop at the same time, and like g5's hanging. It was like, what? It's crazy, you know. I'm just like lost in one move. Because I'm banking on this, you know, bishop takes g5 and everything's fine. You know, what's he gonna do? But actually, even that's probably reasonable for white. Yeah, so this just wins. And I tried this, and then he takes. So I can't let him come in here. So now I have to play bishop g7, but now I lose the other pawn too. I never had a game so strangely fall apart so quickly. I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. I guess he just should play rook here. I don't imagine how I'm gonna deal with that. But instead he played rook h1. I mean, which is better? Well, even rook e7 is better. He's even better than those moves. He has 3 winning moves. It's crazy how you can take a completely unlosable position and lose it in one move. Look at this. I'm plus 1.9. I was actually winning. Wow. Okay, so he shouldn't play h4. I mean, this is a draw. It's legitimately a draw. But he plays h4, and I should have taken it, but I was afraid of giving him, you know, some kind of activity. It's amazing, though, how I can be lost in one move with a totally innocent-looking move like bishop e7. And that's it, you know. I go from +2 to +3 to -4 in one bishop move. And that was it. Pretty astute play by white. And I lost everything. All my pawns. There's nothing to see here. Yeah, he didn't give me any counter chances. I'm down 4 pawns. I mean, we both had like 16 seconds with increment, so I was trying, and he has a tendency to panic. I can't really blockade all 4 pawns. You know, it does seem kind of difficult. And now I was just disgusted. I played it on to the bitter end. Not all the way. Now it was enough. Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether to call him lucky or good. Jim's submitting a game. No bullet games allowed. Oh, it's a bullet game, first sentence. It's a bullet game. No politics and no bullet games. Oh no. If you have time. Alright, well, if we have time. I need some water. Arsenal said, I had a bullet game where I was up 10 points of material and gave back 2 pieces and a rook to go into pawn up winning in game. I don't have anything that extreme that I remember. I always joke about the time that I beat Onishuk and I was up a rook like right before the time control, hung it back, and then I beat him in a queen and pawn ending, you know, like up one pawn or whatever. Joel Benjamin was like, just relax, man. Like, I just hung a rook in a rook up position. Alright, here. Jim will save that if we have time. Repun, that was interesting. Okay, Ancillary Mary. I'm not synced again. It's a syncing business. No, I mean, I don't like chess that's played with less than 10 minutes. The older I get, less than 5+3. Well, the Onishuk is probably, you know, graduated to training and stuff. He won the U.S. Championship, but he ran into all those, like, Hikarus and the younger generation of super grandmasters. He got kind of, like, overrun by Wesley So and Hikaru, and it's just, you know, I guess he had to make a living outside of playing tournaments. Not to be confused with Vladimir Onishuk, who's like another Ukrainian grandmaster. Okay, so we're on to the next game, thankfully. Yeah, Ansi is white. People always ask me, like, who's the highest rated player you ever beat? And Onishuk was like 2660 when I beat him. But I've never been paired with anyone who's like been currently over 2700 in a tournament game. That's around the high 2600s that I've ever faced. It's not like, you know, and plus like 20 or 30 years ago there were less people who were 2700. Now there's like 1 million 2700s. They're like dime a dozen. Jeffrey Jiang is 2700. Like, these people who don't even play are 2700. 2700 is nothing. It used to be like a real achievement. So Bishop E5, Sam Shankland is 2700. I mean, totally been devalued. G6, C3. Okay, so this is ancillary. Other words, antsy. I beat up Magnus Carlsen's dad. No, it disturbs me when people like who hardly play at all are like 2700. I mean, oh, I just got 2700 to put it on my college, you know, application or my job application or something. Like, what? How did what? How did that even happen? No, I just got it so my parents said to get 2700 so I could get into Princeton or something like that. So I could become like a big business guy or something to inflate the rating system. Alright, Bishop E5, G6, C3, Bishop G7, D4. Yeah, Keith Arkell was arguing for making everyone have like a higher K factor. That was his solution for fixing the rating system. I thought, man, I don't know. You're just going to make it more random. I don't think that helps. Alright. I don't think like increasing everyone's K factors even more randomly. I said make tournaments free. Make tournaments fees like paid by companies as sponsorships, so that every player in India can play FIDE rated games until they're blue in the face, and they don't come to Budapest and take away all our rating points. I'm tired of seeing like Hungarian grandmasters who are rated like 2350 because they lost 10 games to Indian 2100s. I mean, it's crazy, man. What's this variation about? G6 C3. Yeah, okay, so knight F6 is actually, maybe knight F6 is really important here. Putting pressure on the E4 pawn. This is better. It looks like it's better. Okay, bishop G7 still is fine. D4. Maybe it's not fine, actually. Maybe it's not fine. Maybe this is really absolutely necessary. You have to play knight F6. I've never played this line in with black in a single game in my life. I thought about it. I gotta switch to something better. I thought about it, but I just haven't put in the work. I think forcing queen e2, if that's white's best move, is an accomplishment, This looks like this is lame. This is kind of like a move, but not a big deal. And this queen on e2 is slightly artificial. So this has to be best. Yeah, I mean, there's a problem, right? There's a problem with c3. If you play c3 in the Rossolimo, if you ever exchange this bishop on c6, you have a problem, right? Because there are going to be big, fat, white square weaknesses in your position. So any kind of variations involving like giving up that bishop on c6 are now not going to be so attractive. And that's the moral of the story. Like when you play the Nimzo or something, you're getting your bishop outside the pawn chain, you're doubling the pawns, and then you're like putting your pawns on that color. I'm putting my pawns on like d3, castles, rook e1. The pawns control the white squares. But if you're going to play c3, you can't have it both ways. Now you're going to have to keep that bishop. You're not going to be able to trade it off because your white squares will be weak. So that bishop will have to be retained in a lot of variations. Speaking of the c3 Sicilian, let's see what happened here. So d4 has a good score, but queen a5 check doesn't do anything. There's a problem with d5. No, because we have queen a5 check. d5 is not a threat. Yeah, I don't know about this move. Wow, yeah. It's amazing how fast black gets in trouble here. You could play d5, right? I had an endgame like this the other day where I really had, it was a c3 Sicilian. I really had problems. It was like takes, queen takes check. I think my opponent might have been using an engine. I guess it was this, similar position to this. But it wasn't easy. It looked like I was in big trouble very early on. This is weak, this is gone, and I'm down a pawn on c5. It wasn't the same position, but it was something very similar. I don't think that's okay for black. That's the problem. So if d5 doesn't work, okay, queen a5. This is playable maybe. I looked at this. Bishop takes c6. See, there goes the white square bishop. And now so we have like white squares. These white squares look a little funky to me. In the long run, I mean strategically. So like b takes with the idea of that. Castles before you can cut me off. I think I looked at this line. I wasn't that convinced for white. I looked at playing it for white in a training game. C takes d4, c takes d4, knight f6, Brandesniga, knight c3, and we out of here. Yo, is this that bad for black? It doesn't seem that bad. This is probably like the best chance, honestly. It looks like this is literally the best chance. It's a funny move to play though, Queen a5. It looks very artificial. But white maybe doesn't have a better answer. You know, what else is he gonna do? It's a simple threat to take here. You just don't have any other options. So that's probably best. I don't trust this though. Queen b6. This is extremely dangerous. White should just sack a pawn, no, with knight c3. It's the typical line in the English too. Wow, look at the score. After knight c3, knight d4. Honestly, like even here you would have compensation. If the Mora Gambit is compensation, this is kind of similar. Even here, you know, in an ending or something, I mean, white has compensation, even here. Compensation! Endgame, down a pawn, it's still like equal, according to the engine. Approximately equal. 0.0. So even if you have endgame compensation, bishop takes d4. Yeah, the computer recommends knight d5 right away. Martha Lorena. I've seen Martha in a long time. Knight takes f3 check. Seems to be the main continuation. Queen takes f3. Yeah, good luck with this, man. This is like, forget about it. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I mean, black is lucky to be alive at all. This is horrifying. You can't play this. This is just unplayable. No, the Queen a5 line looks cool. That's the only try. That's why I didn't play it. I saw this a couple of months ago, and I thought this variation was doable for black. Let's see what the engine says. Yeah. If you let it run, man, it figures it out. You know, that computer's pretty good. Queen a5 was like a secret move. I don't get this though. Queen b6. What? Oh, Queen b6 right away. That's the better move. Interesting. This I missed when I looked at it before. Wow. You had this as black? That's weird. Wow, I didn't see this. Okay, so this is the move. This is even better than Queen a5. Alexienko. Petronius. Guhoyan. Gunnarsson. Okay. So that's a better version. Yeah, and white doesn't want to give up his white square bishop necessarily. You're basically playing something very similar to the other line with the queen on a5. So a4. That's a weakening move though. So like there's that square. That b4 square. White plays it like Smith-Morra castle. A6 is pretty gross. Man. We're following Westerinen and Miles 1980. Westerinen always famous for playing really weird variations. Miles as well. So you get a combination there of those two guys. Anyways, alright, Queen B6 is a good move, but not after the exchange of pawns. So we learned something here. This is a serious error. Serious error. And now black's just worse. So what about knight f6? That's still better than what happened, right? Wow. You can do knight f6. And if e5, knight d5. Maybe it's not that bad. It's still not that bad. If d5, queen a5 check, knight c3, knight takes e4, right? See lies. So this is still not that bad. This is Mamedov versus Li Chao. Alright, knight c3, and now d5. Wow, this is crazy. Knight e5, bishop d7, knight d7. Is there another option there? Knight e5, castle, sacking a pawn. And we're following Li Chao from 2016. Knight c6, bc6, bishop takes c6, rook b8, e5, knight e4. How are we doing? Looks close. Black's in trouble, but hanging on. So it's like a double pawn sack. You can't take the second pawn. Castle. Interesting. Yeah, it's really shaky for black. So this was the game. Yeah, this is a mistake. You have to take back. He takes back, queen b6, now just knight c3. This is a mistake. Here. Indich, Dusan Indich. I wonder if that's like the father of Indich. Indich the Grandmaster. Knight c3, knight f6, and this is just... We got nothing now. I think you can castle here. If castles, I guess you're still fine. I wonder if white is like even worse now. After this, I guess it's not worse necessarily. Welcome, WJ Loof. H3, no, H3 is slow here. I think white is just trying to be equal at this point. Then that makes sense to stop bishop g4. Realistically, white lost his opening advantage, and then the key now is to not be worse. Unless you're gonna like magically trade the bishop on g7 for the bishop on c1 or something. But I don't know if I understand this. Dude, I mean, the knight on d5 is just... It's God, you know? If God was a piece, it would be that knight on d5 after the move knight e4. I mean, seriously. How many points of material is that worth? Can somebody, like, estimate? The knight on d5, it's worth, like, 4.5 pawns after knight e4. Did you say that exactly, Arsenal? Did we guess the exact same evaluation? It's, yeah, exactly. It's not quite a rook, but it's close. Yeah, great minds think alike. No, I mean, seriously. It's... What are you going to do? You know, you just move the only piece that can trade it off away from it. You're going to have to play around it. There's like a nuclear... It's a nuclear reactor in the middle of the board, and you have to stay away from it for the rest of the game. It's going to be hard to just like play around that knight on d5. It's Chernobyl. White literally is going... What are you going to do, you know? Oh. No way, he played knight b4. That's so greedy. Yeah, you knew that white... Okay, black went to defend his d6 pawn. But little did we know that he was like trying to do something active here. I'm stuttering, I'm so excited. Never did stutter. Yeah, bishop g5 is an interesting move, sure. I like that. Something active. If only we could play bishop g5 and like queen d2. Well, I think white is trying to equalize now. This is scary though. I'm very concerned. Like, why are you moving the elephant off of d5? It's already worth like 4.5 points of material. What are you gonna do? Like, win a rook with it? I mean, seriously. If you win a rook for it, you gain... If he wins the exchange, he gains like 0.5 points of material. Yeah, this is sketch. I don't like g4. But there is a threat of this and like winning the exchange. Can't we just simply play like a3? What's the problem? We can play a3. I mean, BFD. The other monster, I don't know what's wrong with me. The other move that deserves consideration is taking, right? What happens on taking? Now what are you going to do? Pawn takes pawn. Do I go to Secchini Furdo? I haven't been in years. I live really close to it. Bishop g5. I should, but I don't. Good idea, though. The Secchini Furdo is the central bath in the middle of the city park here in Budapest. It's a very historic mineral bath in the middle of Budapest, Pest side. The most famous, one of the most famous ones. Bishop g5. What about that? Random questions. Yeah, anyway. Alright, we get the point. So white played g4. I don't like g4. g4 looks desperate. I guess it's not that bad. But are we having a problem with that? Wow. Ghost bishop. Coming out here. Obviously black has this at the very minimum with a decent position. You can always trade it off. You know you're in trouble if the guy's playing bishop c8. But, you know, there's potential danger here. This and like this. If black is overconfident, he could get in trouble. Alright, so white is like just holding the center. Can you hold my center, please? After bishop a6, queen d2, but this is a problem, isn't it? Wow. I mean, what's going on with takes on e5? Because I don't understand. Doesn't black have this? Like, I realize there's a queen on b6, but now our queen will be hanging first. Do you understand? Does anyone understand what's going on here? I mean, You can't do that, right? Like rook takes, bishop takes b6. I guess you can do anything, but it looks loose. I mean, this is hanging. This could be hanging like here. This doesn't look safe. Oh, there's also that knight c2 in some lines later. Yeah, I don't see this working. What's up here? Yeah, it just like wins. I mean, d takes e5 just wins. You can't play bishop e3. But I think this is crazy. You know, g4 is kind of crazy. Why not just take? I guess this is a problem. But I was looking at one thing. Okay, bishop g5, rook e8, knight f6 check, takes. No. We can't take both rooks and like win. No. So I guess the simplest solution would be not to play knight e4. And then here, we should probably play a3 before we get like destroyed. I vote for a3. g4 is very dangerous. Now it might be too late. I think we have to take. There's bishop a6 there. That's kind of messy. Could like sack our queen or something. Yeah, white played recklessly. But black played this. Yeah, you're lost. You're just lost. But wait a second, this queen is hanging. Hold on a minute here. Maybe black forgot that his queen was hanging or something? He didn't forget forever. Man, black's still up a pawn. Better bishops. So watch what could happen here. I mean, he gets rid of the ghost bishop. No, it's a pawn up for black. And that's bad. We don't like fixing a structure, but white's in trouble. I mean, g4 was a weakening move. I really wish we hadn't played that. Maybe like rook e1, avoiding exchanges and threatening to take on c6, for example. What about that? Don't fix the structure. This is a big mistake. Yeah, I don't like trading and fixing a structure. Looks like maybe black panicked now. I don't know, I guess he had to do something. Yep. No, it's probably clearly better. Now here. And endgame technique. Whoops. Black was not the master of endgame technique. Wait a minute. You have bishop f6 check? I'm beginning to wonder who's better after this. What's black going to do? Does he go to h6? Does he go back to g8? I don't think you should, like, pull your bishop away. What happens here? Like, say king g8, king e4. I mean, I don't even think that black is better. Black is probably worse now. Does he have bishop e7? Even so, it's weird. Well, we take it. White's fine. White might even be better. Now, this seems weird to hesitate. Like, go bishop g5 and then pull it back. And black just goes for it. And now we're in trouble. Well, he should try king f6. Or not. Maybe not. Crazy ending, I don't know. Because then there's a problem with h7. G5 check and takes on h7. It's not clear who's better here. Whoa. Okay, f4 can't be right. What is this, like a fast time control? If you take and play like bishop h6, I'm afraid we're losing. You better have something fast here. I think we're lost now. Man. I would imagine white has to be lost here. These two pawns are too strong. That was a really strange back and forth game. Alright, next game. Unknown user versus Penby. Okay, so unknown user. This has got to be Tejas' game. Yeah, but are you unknown user or Penby? Yeah, but which one? Penby or unknown user? Oh, unknown user 420. Alright. Unknown user 420. 420 somewhere. Alright. King's Indian again. I don't like playing the classical King's Indian with fast time control, but I'll do it in a long game. So we got this knight c6 move. Yeah, that move is kind of mysterious. I remember this weird game I had once with this guy from Canada. I don't even remember his name, Michael Schleifer. It was an IM from Canada. I played d5 and he like put his knight on b4. It's a really strange, really strange idea, you know. But this looks like it was played by historical players. I didn't realize Byrne had played it in 1989. d5 is weird. You know, a knight c6 is weird. Black's trying to trick you. No, knight c6 is a very rare move. I mean, when you look at the Opening Explorer, there's only 280 games with knight c6. I mean, this is probably covered by somebody somewhere, you know, some side notes in King's Indian books. But no one I ever saw, like, did a good analysis of that move, you know. Knight c6 is... it's a rare move. And Black has tricks. If you castle here, he can play, like, rook e8 or something, maybe. He can try to be tricky. Try to trick you and play e5 and then like knight d4 or something. I'm not sure you could just like pretend everything's, you know, normal. I mean, castles is definitely okay, but Black has these other moves. Bishop g4 or rook e8. So the question is, like, is d5 the best move for white? Probably is. Then you've got to deal with this. You've got to deal with this. Like, you've got to deal with knight e5. I've had people play that against me. I don't know, you know. I think this is good for white, honestly, but it's not so simple. I had some people slip away and get perfectly good positions. Alright. Anyways, d5 is the critical move. Castle, e5. Yeah, I mean, he should try this tricky stuff. I guess still you should play d5 if he does that. Maybe bishop g4 is the best move. Probably is. Maybe this is like a transposition. It's just a transposition to another variation. Alright. Castle e5. Anyway, so it's like a mainline King's Indian. I don't play this line, but it's considered by many to be like white's best variation. Korchnoi was like the main guy. You know, so knight d7. Nakamura Kasparov. So Nakamura. And lots of Grishuk games. I mean, I'm out of book by modern standards. I think that knight d7 was supposed to be the better move. Anyway, so that's like technically inaccurate. It holds up c5 better, right? Knight d7 does a better job holding that up. Korchnoi had a pawn sack he would play. Bishop e3, f5, f3, f4, bishop here. Like g5, isn't there this? Maybe not in this position, but it's somewhere like pretty early on white could sack a pawn with c5. Just saying hello, Excel Poker. Thank you. Yeah, interesting game here. Isn't there b4, a5, bishop a3 here? Well, not with the knight on e1. You know, b4 is another. The b4 is another move. Don't know if it's better or worse than knight e1. You know, I think it's easier to play. It's safer for white. You got to be like a really, really big time specialist to play this. My friend Joe, the Weed Master. You got to really study this to know how to play it with white, or you'll get mated. You know, like you have to be a freaking expert. You know, but it's if you're Korchnoi or a very, very well prepared player, I think knight e1 is like a. That's like the cognoscenti, high level move, but you got to know the theory like 30 plus moves deep. B4 is a much safer move. I'm familiar with B4. I played a lot of B4. But it's not as dangerous as knight e1. Knight e1 is like very, very sharp. Black gets a scary kind of kingside attack in those lines. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even touch this, you know, I would never play this for either side. I guess I used to play it for black when I was a teenager. I studied this a little bit years ago, but gave it up. F3, yeah. There are other variations too, like, I wanted to go knight e8 though, okay. Knight e8, technically you're supposed to play bishop e3, I guess. Not f3 first. I don't know if there's a way to take advantage of that, but that might be an inaccuracy. You play f3 only when you have to. This is better. So f3, f5. Right. Now we transpose. Yeah, I remember there were old systems with like G4. I remember playing black against Steve Stoico with years ago, one of these things. But I gave up playing the Mar del Plata with black. It's just too much work. Very early on. So anyway, this is like mainline Korchnoi variation. G5. Yeah, okay, so it's this position with C5. No, C5 is just a good move here. So you didn't play C5, you played B4. But I mean, this is why the knight is going to D7. It helps to slow this down. If he doesn't play knight D7, you should just roll. So the thing that comes to my mind is like, why play B4? You know, what's the point? You don't need to play B4. You need to play C5. Open up the C file. And then you like Pac-Man your way in. You know, you eat your way along the C file, then eat your way in from left to right. Do the Pac-Man, you know. But there's no reason to play B4. You have it. That's why knight e8 isn't so great, I guess. So this is a waste of time for you, and also slightly, could perhaps slightly weaken your structure. It also maybe blocks your queen. Say, you might play here, and that could be maybe an idea as well. You just don't need to take time to play b4. It's possible at some point you like transpose to some other variation, I don't know. But yeah, he's doing the normal stuff here. Right. Now, so this is starting to get scary. John Fedorovich always says, like, you don't play h5 with black in these lines because you don't want to, like, block yourself from being able to put your knight on h5. Here. And then probing, like, a7. This is an interesting question. I mean, do you come back here to try to play to c4? What happens on that kind of line? I mean, don't we want to, like, go in there and in there? No? We want to go... I don't know. I never played this line really with white, but we're going to go here and in there? Is knight c3 better? I don't know if black... Can black play, like, a pawn sack here? With, like, g4? Or is h5 necessary? The engine likes h5. There's also knight f6 threatening g4 directly. Maybe that's better. Like, what's white gonna do? h3? Then h5. If white plays h3, okay, all bets are off, I guess. It looks like we're going to get mated, to me. I need to know, like, what happens if we take this pawn. I'm just not used to playing these positions. I don't know. Is there some tricks? Is there a trick here? I don't think the H file is gonna be much. It's this as the file. There might be something with this file. I mean, you got to consider taking on G4. And this is critical. That was Korchnой's big thing. He would, like, trade the white square bishops and take over on the king side. I mean, where... It's over, man. Where's... You know, if this happens, I think white's, like, winning. He loses his white square bishop. Right, so some kind of gambit. It's got to be some kind of tactic. Yeah, like, Turkey Farm is saying queen g5. I mean, some kind of sacrifice. Or some kind of f3. Exactly. Like that. Right? Like, this would be pretty messed up. If bishop takes, though, I wasn't sure. I didn't see anything. Yeah. Nothing there. Wow, this is really weird. Turkey Farm is right. Queen g5. Damn. But I mean, then we're in trouble, man. We're in trouble. We farted around too much on the queen side. If he gets in g4, we're in trouble. We can't let that happen. My friend had a game with Sunil's dad one time where he killed him. But I think it's key to play like king h1. You got to do all kinds of crazy stuff, man. You got to put your bishop on g1, let the pawn come to g3, then you start, I don't know, you know, there's all these crazy defensive maneuvers you have to understand playing the white side of this. It's extremely dangerous. I wouldn't touch this in a million years. Yeah, but this, you're lost probably, you know, once he gets in g4. No, the problem is b4. There's no time for that. You know, you just got to go c5 directly. Then, you know, whatever. Knight g6, rook c1, rook f7, takes, and then you do something over there, you know. I'm not sure. Maybe knight d3. There's also this, like, really convoluted plans of bringing the knight back to f2. I mean, it's extremely subtle. But I'm certain that b4 is not good. I wouldn't play this man unless I spent hours and hours and hours, like, analyzing how to defend with white. It's extremely dangerous. Just knowing generally is not good enough here. You're going to get hit by g3. Now you have bishop b6. But that may or may not be good enough. I guess it's not good enough, right? I mean, queen h4 is game over. Well, white's lost here. It's clearly lost. I think. I mean, probably you have to take on g3, but that's probably lost too. Yeah, b5 is bad. b4 is bad. Taking is probably your best shot. So, yeah, I don't know about this though. I mean, black played h4 now. I mean, that's clearly wrong. He has to take, or maybe some kind of queen g5, but let's say takes. You have to take. I remember getting mated by Alex Scherzer like this when I was like 2100. Well, the queen g5 again. This looks extremely bad. It's got to be lost. Wow, it's not lost. Can't believe it. Wow, that's crazy. White isn't lost here. Yes, extremely natural pawn sack. I thought it was winning. Wow. So the engine says he should play knight h4. Yeah, we need like Mr. Slow. I'm just not an authority on these. I thought this was winning for sure, but that's a crazy move. He has to take and play queen g5. And amazingly, you're not lost here. I would be pooping myself, like thinking I'm getting mated. Oh man. Yeah, that looks incredibly dangerous. So, but his move is horrible. h4 is horrible. Why can't you just play g4? I mean, you're probably winning. I don't think he has enough play fast enough, does he? So let's say h3. Maybe he does. I don't quite see how it works though. Like takes, rook h7, king g2, knight h4 check, king h2. We better dial up Garry Kasparov. I don't think that you're in danger here. Gain a tempo, it's not clear. You know, if you're gaining a tempo, it's not clear if that's a good move or not. I mean, you left control of G4. Gaining a tempo and losing control of H4. So this looks like you do have that, though. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's really important. You can play knight F2 now. Knight F2 changes everything. There's still danger there, though. Like this and here. Yeah, I mean, it's not that simple. The guy's clearly got to play H3 here. I mean, there is no other move. This is literally the only move. He doesn't do that. I can't believe it. There's no freaking way. Like, what are you going to do? Knight H5? Better be careful there's not some kind of sacrifice. This looks a little greedy. It's probably not enough, though. You want a piece. Sure, run away. Now it's winning. Yeah. But I think we gotta go a little faster here for the games. I want to look at H3. Yeah, I mean, it's the only move. Black has to try H3. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not simple. It's not even clear, like, that it would be easy to find what the best defense is. Taking, you can play knight F2, or you can even play bishop back to F2. Now, I'm not sure bishop B6 was a good move. You said it gains a tempo, but I think it drives, like, a defender away from F2 and H4. This is actually better. Keep your bishop here. Alright, so anyway, looks like you're winning after this, winning a piece, and you run away, and this was smart. I mean, king F2, get out of there. You run over to the other side, it's game over. Just run over to the other side. This is easy. Yeah, he's totally lost. There's nothing that black could do. Evacuation. This is a crushing win now. You hung a queen, but you got a new one. Alright. You gotta stop the pawn. This got a little closer than I would have liked to have had, but 3 pieces. Nice to have a pawn left. Alright. How many games do we have left here? Camel Culture against Ponky, an Arsenal fan. Camel, Ponky, an Arsenal fan, and there was a game if we have time. Camel Culture, the clutcher of camels. Okay, so this is like an online game. 10 minutes? What is this game? 10 plus 5? 10 plus 5. I suck. Rapid chess with increment. Queen's Indian. I like the Queen's Indian. for a draw. No, it's a good opening. So you're playing bishop a6. Okay. I played this opening once with black in my life. I think I lost against a Lichess. He always played the same variation, so I was like, alright, I'll just play a line I never played because I know exactly what he's going to do. But I played you. Maybe we had a game in this, but not this variation with knight bd2. I think I played that once on the stream, but I didn't know what I was doing. You know, that's a variation I've never analyzed. Karpov was the big expert on bishop a6, late go. It was very popular in the early 2000s. Everybody was playing the bishop a6 Queen's Indian. Late go was a huge expert. There's tons of theory. b3 is the main line. There are lots of games like Topalov late go match. I remember. Not so trendy anymore. Seems like it's kind of gone out of fashion. Still live? Knight on bd2. So I'm out of book for both colors here. Yeah, b5 you have. That's a funny variation in the main line. Ivanov used to play this. Bishop g2, b5. What am I talking about? b3, b5. The b3, b5. Yeah, that's a funny line. Wow, somebody actually played bishop g2. Brandon Jacobson played bishop g2. Jeez. Yeah, I don't think that's typical. You don't normally just like drop a pawn on c4. Pretty adventurous. Is that really playable? No. Alright, so knight on bd2. No. Oh, Jim's bullet game. So, okay, Chemiculture played d5. This is a logical move. Why don't I like this? I don't know, because of takes? But d5 makes sense. What can be wrong with that move? So I guess like this. The knight is on a bad square on d2. But other than that, you know, it's a kind of, like, both of these pieces are on sort of weird squares. Knight on d2, bishop on a6. It seems okay for black. I've literally never played either side of this position. Queen a4 check. There's one game where that's ever been played. That's a good sign for you. So you traded queens. That's what Farogo Ivan and I would do. You know, one thing that concerns me though is like if you play queen d7 and he plays another queen move. So let's say he plays queen c2. What are you going to do now? Because he's threatening knight e5. So this is what concerns me here. Now your queen's there, like, waiting to get hit by knight e5, so we have to come up with a good move. Do we go here? Is this just good for us? What's the deal? I'm not even sure what's going on. Like, knight e5? That seems kind of strange. Is this a problem? Do you have a problem, officer? Do I have to take here? Do we have a problem, officer? But maybe taking on c4 is okay. We have a lead in development, but I mean this development is a little artificial. You could be like Veselin Topalov and go here or something. Not Fianchetto. No, I don't know. Now I'm curious to see what the engine says about Queen C2. Interesting. I would not have found the right line. That's amazing, dude. You have one variation that's good for you. C5 with the idea of Queen B7. How weird is that? I literally never would have found it. Knight E5, Queen B7 into the diagonal of death. That's crazy. Because I want to have that queen, you know, opposite his bishop on G2, obviously. A very safe place to be. There's no way, you know, anybody's going to find that. That is a crazy line. You know, so objectively, if I were white, that's what I would do. But your guy is like a lame-o. He just wants a Grandmaster draw. Or he's like Keith Arkle or something. Queen takes D7 check. Playing for the 80 move grind. But I mean, alright. You know, so this guy, whoever, played this. I think this move may be more solid than what you did. Now you're threatening to take on C4. So again, like, white can't just do anything. I mean, if bishop G2, you're taking here. That looks problematic. Greetings, colleagues. It is kind of shocking that only one person has ever played this relatively reasonable move, Queen A4 check. On lichess, there's probably like 1 million people. Playing bullet games, absolutely. In the London system. Anyway, let's see what happened. I'm getting foggy-headed. He just trades. So you should be okay here. But, you know, there is an issue with the structure. I mean, this is how I joke about Arkle, but I lost an ending against him. I mean, theoretically, like, you have a backward pawn on C7. So, here we go. Take, take. I mean, technically, white has a better structure. He has five pawn island, and your pawn on C7 could be backward, or you get hanging pawns. But, you know, overall, like, you're active, you should be okay. So there's a game with this, wow. And good players. The German Grandmaster Bonch against Babula. It's like you would expect like this is some Bundesliga game, almost certainly a draw. I mean, come on, like GM versus GM in a boring ending in the Bundesliga. These guys, you know, they're getting paid to make like 20 move draws here. White actually lost it. Wow. So you played bishop f1, king f1. Now his king can go to either e2 or g2. White's bishop is bad, but it will probably come out to like b2. So this is interesting. Babula here played a5. I mean, that is a very unusual move. It's not something that, you know, it's extremely outside the box. I'm not sure it's good. I'm not sure it's bad. But I think the Camel Cultures move is far more natural. This is way more fundamental than what Babula did. I mean, you play c5, you're putting pressure in the center. I like it. It seems correct to me. Yeah, h5, well, at least with h5 you're like putting your pawns on the right color. but h5 is equally stupid. I don't know. a5 is... It's a weird move. Look how Bonch played. He like put his pawn on a4 immediately. I mean, he kind of played like a player with white who was unambitious and wanted to draw. But Babula puts his bishop on b4, and it looks like black's fine. Probably equal. The engine here gives plus 0.0, b3. Now knight e4. King e2. Well, both are very strong players. And then f5. And now Bonch went bishop a3 to get rid of his bad bishop. So black ended up like having like a slight space advantage. It's very interesting. But I doubt a4 is the best move. Wow. But apparently a5 was good. Damn, dude, he was using an engine. a5 is the #1 move here. That is scary. Wow, that is seriously engine #1. Engine #1 move. Knight b1 is suggested to get the knight to a decent square. Alright. Let's see what happened though. I don't think that c5 is bad. c5 is a totally natural move. Here. And now bishop d6. I'd really like to put your king on an active square like e6. To be honest with you, you've got to watch for knight g5. Bishop e2. Obviously bishop a3 is also possible. Here. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about castles. It's not a bad move. This looks interesting, but it's also dangerous. There's still a lot of pieces on the board, and it's possible he does like king g2 and rook e1 and tries to open up the e file. Did you suggest knight f8, Turkey Farm? Was someone... No. Maybe after king e7 we could play like there and there. Here, knight f8. For example, like rook e1, knight e6. It's a really weird position. If he ever does that, we play like g6. But this center... The center advancing looks a little scary with our king on e7. So it's a tough call. You know, another idea that just occurred to me would be castle's queenside, but we can't because of like knight g5. Maybe we can. Because I was thinking putting your king on b7. It's highly unusual. But I mean, maybe it's not bad. I mean, this is not a big deal, right? Just go there. It may not be crazy to castle queenside. Your king is so safe on b7. And it's kind of close to the center without being attacked by rooks. I wonder about this. It looks like it's playable. White's better, according to the engine. Damn, it still wants to do... It wants to do a5. Okay, castles is a normal move. I'm trying to be too creative. And now he played that, that, that. You see, now that's not very aggressive. But it's natural. Yeah, what do you want him to do? Yeah, so camel plate is fine. But I also thought maybe king g2. Okay, now rook e7 doesn't seem... Man, now a5 does start to make sense, because you have this Spassky-esque sort of like queenside thing with a4. White's got to play a4 now. I mean, I'm almost certain. This has got to be forced. But I mean, he has that maneuver there again. It's tricky. You could make a totally routine move like rook c8. What does this accomplish, though? I don't know. Well, we got to do something. You know, what does rook e7 accomplish? I mean, it's not easy to accomplish anything here. What do you want to accomplish? Like, what? Name a plan that accomplishes something. I don't know. I'm having trouble thinking of one. What does rook e7 accomplish? You're gonna like double your rooks and then play knight g4 and sack on e3 or something? It's a normal move. I think this is a normal move. Perhaps we could play like the same plan of like knight b8 going there. Nah, it's not gonna happen. It's just hard to do anything. It's really hard to do anything. Yeah, but if you play knight e4, obviously that's a major idea. But at some point the d5 pawn is going to get like soft. The nice thing about the knight on f6 and then on d7 is like they keep d5 protected all the time. The minute you start playing like knight e4, he's going to have like rook d1 and maybe that's going to fall in some lines. It's really hard to do anything here. Rook e7 is just like a normal sort of routine move. But I'm really not sure. You see, that's what I was afraid of. There's that. I mean, you have to admit, it was kind of weird the way he did it. And then you did that knight b8, but okay. Yeah, I don't like this. I want to go back to rook e7 and do it over. I like a5 better than that, actually. Because if he... You don't think it accomplishes? I think this accomplishes a lot. If he allows a4, we degenerate his pawn structure, and we improved our position. So he plays a4. Maybe we could even play b5, I don't know. We need to call up our Spassky and ask him what he would do. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure about this bishop on d6. The problem is that he could go there at some point. You could always just make a routine move like here. But you can never move your knight back to like b8 because he's going to wreck you. I mean, when this happens, this is a very high price to pay with our structure. I don't know if we can afford it or not. Yeah, bishop f8 is a normal idea. I agree, like bishop f8 is a totally natural move. What would Karpov do? There was the game he lost to Gelfand where he started doing all kinds of weird rook moves like rook e6, rook d6, and an ending. I mean, in general, I think, you know, bishop f8, g6, we're putting the pawns in the right color. Maybe bishop g7 at some point. Even Uber Driver's suggestion of playing h5. Not that stupid. But this looks weird. Speaking of what are we accomplishing, I don't know. We got nothing on the e-file. So now you went back, but what's happening here? Guy plays knight b1. What about takes? I would give this a long, hard consideration. Because, man, what's going on with your d5 pawn? Are you just lost here? There's that, and there's like that, and that. Yeah, this looks sketchy. This looks bad. I mean, I think we're just like lost. I don't think you can play knight b8. But he doesn't take. He's like threatening to take. And now you went knight c6 and it just all fell apart. Okay, so you just, yeah, your structure, ugh. So you lost the pawn. You lost the pawn and you like got your structure busted up. And this is just like a one move threat that doesn't do anything. The best kind. When things are going wrong, just look for like random stabs in the dark that don't do anything. Man, are you threatening bishop takes e3? Do we have anything with like that? Yeah, now a5. It's a little late for that. You could play a4. I love that knight on a6, man. But seriously, why not c6? Because if you go here, if you could fix your pawns, he's not going to let you fix your pawns. Anyway, yeah, this wasn't Camel Culture's best game. This was not the best game. Very ugly. Yeah, no, I mean, I think you had a reasonably equal position, right? I mean, let's say move 14. You know, I would wager that if white's better, it's only by like a tiny margin here. I mean, I admit that I had a hint as far as a5 goes, but I mean, the structure makes more sense now. When Babula did it, he did it with like no b3. He just like did it. a5 is the best move. Otherwise, I think bishop f8 is okay. Rook a c8 is like a normal move. And now g6. You concluded that c5 is just wrong? Well, you know, there is a reasoning behind it, because by playing c5, you made his bishop have life, right? On the long diagonal. You gave life to Frankenstein. So maybe Babula knows what he's doing. This guy's a genius. I mean, a5. Alright. Next game. Arsenal fan versus St. Louis Chess Club. LM. Loser Master. Alright, Loser Master versus Arsenal fan. Or Arsenal fan versus Loser Master. Oh, the e5. Vladimir Georgiev. Remind him of the time that I beat him with bishop and knight versus king and bishop and knight versus king. That was satisfying. e5, knight f3. Knight on bd7. Okay, so it's GM, St. Louis Chess Club. Yeah, you'd want to play the gambit. Against the Philidor? I like g3. Just pretend you're playing like the Fianchetto Pierz, but he like put his bishop on the wrong square. You've never seen g4, dude. You've been living under a rock for the last 15 years. Oh, I thought you were Uber driver. Sorry, Arsenal. I know you're not living under a rock. I thought Uber driver had been living under a rock. G4. Right. I personally never played that. You know, but it's interesting. This is an unusual move. Somewhere I saw this not that long ago. I know the Serbians are real big on the Philidor, but he's not a Serbian. He's from Fyrom, Northern Macedonia, but he's lived in the United States for like 20 years. I mean, I played him back in like it was 2001 or something. But I know Vladimir's been living there in like Chicago or something forever. And Mitkov as well. Knight b6. So this is a line. So what's the problem with bishop b3? There's a tactic. Well, there's a question about Arsenal's move order. Let's see. Bishop c4, bishop e7. Wow, people actually play knight g5 here. That's a stupid line where you take on f7. I saw Anita Gara get this once. Anita was playing black. Yeah, this is a line. Queen e8, knight takes c7, all that. But it's nothing special here. So maybe you have to play maybe you have to play a4 first. What's the deal? You play a4 first. Castle. I mean, does that really matter? Yeah, you never get your bishop trapped by a Noah's Ark trap with like c4. Is that the idea? He's like trapping your bishop. Another opening subtlety. Well, it's not forced. But it still might be the more accurate move order. That's the question, you know. It may be a slightly more accurate move order. Not a question of it being forced. Don't get too excited. Well, I mean, what's happening here? This isn't that bad, is it? E takes d. If knight takes c5, and he's threatening the master cheapo. Man, there's a Christian Bauer game. Did he write a book on the Philidor? I mean, you have bishop a4 check, so you're not going to lose a piece. So let's say you go here. Check. Knight takes a4. Knight takes a4. Knight takes e4. This is a Jovanovic guy. I mean, he plays in Hungarian Team Championship. So even this is like playable. Yeah, I mean, even this whole thing is like no big deal. Like, you get your pawn back. Or you don't. Wow. This is crazy. Queen takes g7, you do, but it's a very strange position. Yeah, this is very irrational. Wow. Alright, so Arsenal, faced with a new position, decided to play pawn takes e5. Oh, wow. So there's games, and they're all either from Serbia or Bulgaria. Popovich is a big expert on the Philidor exchange and stuff. But isn't that weird? Everyone's from the same region that plays this. I think it was a Velimirovich inspiration or something. I don't know. Well, man, I mean, your move actually looks pretty good. So Uber Driver claims bishop e2 is forced, and I agree the knight on b6 is misplaced. So that is probably the main move. I agree with Turkey Farm that knight b6 looks kind of sus. But this is totally okay. Yeah, I mean, here you're giving up the bishop. You've got to adjust. I mean, what's the deal? You've got no light squared bishop. So bishop on c8 is worth like 3.5 points of material. But you have a strong center. That white square pawn also contributes to counteracting the unopposed white square bishop. You have good access to d5. So all games were knight d5 draw. And you played queen e2. Basically, after knight d5, you eliminate his bishop on f6, and white can't be worse. Unless he can like take on b2, but clearly he can't. I mean, here, this is like horrible, right? He's like lost the piece. Lost the game probably. He could take knight takes b2. What's up with that? Now Arsenal's like queen e2 may start to... That might start to be an idea. Yeah. Wow, you have this. I didn't even see it. Too easy. Oh wow, here. Knight takes d1, pawn takes f6. That's wild. Alright, so you play queen e2. Just hitting his knight. Then you went knight d5. Now he goes knight e5. What is his options here? What are his options here? b5, knight b6. He goes knight e5. This isn't going anywhere. But I mean, the obvious thing to do is like try to draw the grandmaster, I guess. That's pretty chicken style of play. But you have to be rational, you know, like maybe you're not better. But knight d4 is aggressive. Probably a good move. So he's just trying to equalize. And now the question is black better because you're like slightly overextended? Or do you still have some kind of advantage? Feels like he traded too many pieces and he's out of the woods. He's basically playing like Steinitz. Bishop d2, rook e8, bishop c3, queen d7. Yeah, no weaknesses. Can't hurt me. So it's like equal. But you have to be a little bit careful about that pawn on d5. Yeah. Arsenal says, I thought the d5 pawn might have been enough to claim a small edge. But the question is, for who? You know, is that an advantage for you or is it an advantage for him? A weakness isn't a weakness unless it can be attacked. That's the question. Is it an advantage or a disadvantage? Yeah. And the space it gives you is your advantage. But you would rather have more pieces on the board with a space advantage of that nature. The only thing is, like, he can't fully equalize by like going to an ending like that. He's slightly worse here if he trades down. That's a strange move. I mean, bishop e5. He's not really doing anything. And you actually went to trade. Yeah, it sucks. You know, it's not a strange move. Maybe bishop e5 has a point. I don't know. It's hard for you to do anything. This sucks. I have nothing better to suggest than like rook e1. Kind of like routine move. Maybe b3. Though it looks like it loosens you a little bit. Is he threatening like knight f4? Damn. Maybe he's really threatening knight f4. So Arsenal went super safe. Wow. So much for b3. Now you play b3. He went over there. He's like a robot. Rook f e1. Yeah, man, super compacto. Bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, queen f4, queen f4, knight f4, rook a e8. And now your space advantage. Might not be a problem. Ooh. So I like it. I like the look of c6. Man, he has a nasty cheapo, doesn't he? No. So it looks like after c6 he's admitting that you're better. c6 is like an admission of defeat. His whole game was like, oh, you know, I'm compact and you're going to be overextended. But c6 is like, well, yeah, your d5 pawn is kind of a problem. a5 LOL. Why is it LOL? No, I mean a5 is a totally normal move. Absolutely. Right. a5's always good. Just not queen a5. So c6 is an admission of defeat. Now I think Arsenal, you can consider taking en passant here. You have a better structure. You can exchange, you know. It's like Christmas time. You trade presents, you know. This present, you like black here. Well, definitely not c6. Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could take en passant. White is better. No, white is better. Dude, that's structural capitulation. There's no way that black is better after that. No, I mean, look at the engine. It's like dead equal until he plays c6, and he's going to go under the bridge here. c6 is a mistake. I mean, he's worse after that. Now you're just better. I think simplest is just take. Well, it's simple, Turkey Farm. I mean, okay. I've got less pawn islands, you know, and less liabilities. So, like, take c4. Nothing to see here. He was worried, man. I mean, that's why he played it. He started to feel like he was running out of room. He just finally concedes that, you know, he's just trying to draw or something. So you played c4. You know, now maybe Turkey Farm's right. Maybe black should play c5. Actually. Do you have knight d3? Well, it's complicated. Maybe you have knight d3. Oh, that's similar to what happened in the game. But I mean, what is he doing with c6? He's not threatening to take. He might be threatening what, like g5? No. I don't know what c6 even does. I think the computer was talking about b5. This is not a stupid idea. b5, a5, a4, or b4, a4. Maybe shift his rooks over to a different line later. I don't like this move. You should definitely take en passant. Arsenal didn't know about en passant. We just taught him this week and he forgot. Alright, g5. Wow. Yeah, the guy's freaking out. That's two crazy moves in a row. Okay. You know, he is getting into a slightly difficult position. And I think he realized that you missed your chance to play takes there. But you have knight d3. It's a strong move. So here he should take on d5. He's like, thank God you didn't destroy my structure. Yeah, there were some curious moves here. For me. Arsenal doesn't speak French. He should definitely try c5. I think. c5 and maybe b5. Play for b5. You still have that, right? And now you're threatening f4. Is he in trouble here? Well, I'm just trying to understand. Are you threatening f4? Maybe you are. What happens if you go like king f8? Right? I mean, you're going to have a very complex rook ending. Or a king and pawn in game, and I don't even want to think about it. It makes my head hurt. You know, I don't know what this is. Protected passed pawn on d5 ain't bad. But don't ask me if it's a win or not. Probably not. It's going to be penetrate. Like, how are you going to get your king in to black's position? What's wrong with king f6? Oh, nothing could possibly go wrong there. King f6 feels very safe. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. We should consider king f6. It just looked kind of weird, you know, like in front of the pawn. I don't know. But anyways, so he does this. Knight d3. And now he moved his knight. That's why he played g5, it turns out. I didn't realize. Outside pass pawn? Anybody? Here we go. You did d6, c6 later. Maybe it's even better here. Like take, b4. Can I introduce you to the queenside pawn majority? Something like b5, a4. No, I don't know about c5 there. I mean, it might be a move, but it simplifies a lot. I kind of like this, you know. We're going to try to queen a pawn. It's an interesting position. Yeah, I mean, b4 is a top move. It's number one. There's an argument that rook trade here like brings his knight back into the center more. But you see, this is still a good move. And so he realized, like, that sucks. So now he takes with the knight. You see, that's a grandmaster. He didn't like the look of that queenside majority. But you're still better. But I don't know about f4. Right. Arkle's endgames. Dude, b4 Arkle would be like... Man, he would be counting the rating points already. He lives for positions like this. If you take here, like this only helps you, you know, bring your king closer to the center. His knight's just chilling on g6. So just take and play b4. Like, you're winning in the king and pawn game. If he tries anything like that, I think black's just, like, lost, right? This is winning. Winning queenside pawn majority. 1.8 and growing. It's up to 2.6. I mean, he's not going to go into a king and pawn game that's lost. Yeah, black's knight is inactive on g6. You bring it back in the center. So after knight takes... Yeah, he wakes up and smells the coffee. You're still better here, obviously. But I guess I would just centralize my king. But he's probably holding on. I don't know. Well, I mean, the most important priority in endgame's arsenal is to centralize your king. But I don't think that f4 is necessarily a bad move. It just might give him time to centralize his king first. That's all. I'm not sure he should take. You know, maybe he should play like king f6 or something subtle. I have the feeling like, you know, Vlad is not taking this like that seriously, that he's necessarily concentrating that hard on every single move. Maybe knight end games are pretty tough. I mean, maybe king there. Maybe takes on f4 is good. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is a good square. So take knight b4 of all things. Aha. He finds a forcing line. And you played a4. Maybe you have to. Because if you play a3, he's playing knight c2, and you would be forced to do it anyway, and then there's like that. So if you hadn't brought your knight away, if you had played like this, I guess king f6, king e3, king f5, for example. I mean, you're still slightly better, right? Is king f5 the best move? It's close. You're better here. I mean, you're better. In order to equalize, he has to play like king e6 and d5 somehow. You're better structurally. King e6. Although this allows f5. So you have to play f4 now. And now what does he do? Yeah, now the computer says take. Okay. Take. Check. King somewhere. f5. And you're slightly better. Like there. But objectively, you're not winning, I guess. You know, obviously, you're not up a pawn. You don't have a better king position. You have a slight advantage based on structure. Yeah. Alright, guys. Time to go. We had one last quick submission from Jim. I'm just going to throw this in here for a minute. It's a bullet game. Jim said if you have time, it's a bullet game. That's... But not that bullet. 3/4 plus 3. My opponent is a really strong player. Okay. In the end, there are missed mates and won, but the opening and structure became really weird. Okay. Let's just open this up. Thanks, guys, for watching. For your support. Turkey Farm. Turkey Farm fan. Thanks, guys. Good game, Arsenal. So Jim is black in a bullet game. This guy he's playing is a strong player. Reverse hyper-accelerated dragon. I lost a painful game in this once. Suba talks about c5. He had a game where a guy played c5 against him. Thanks, Asterbait. Gifting a stream. Gifting a sub to the community. Interesting. The engine style. This is like a semi-bullet game. This is probably bad. But it's not that bad. I mean, it's creative. You have knight e5? No. Perhaps later. No. d4? No. Yeah, it's a Marazzi with queen. Yeah, the queen is funky. I mean, I was talking to Asterbait about it today in another accelerated dragon where the queen on b6 or b3 is artificially placed. Here again. Yeah, you want to take advantage of his queen. So you played this, but you have some interesting possibilities here. I mean, the first move to think about is like b4. Could this possibly work in some position? I don't know. You have like this. It's Jim's game. b4, knight b4, knight e5, queen e5, queen a4 check. Never mind. Losing my mind. Alright. I forgot his knight's protected. Is there anything here? No. No, I guess b4 doesn't work. I would just play like d3, you know, and try to hit his queen later. Be patient. Knight e1 is pretty extreme. What I don't like about knight e1 is that you're pulling your knight away from the center. It's move 8. I think we need to develop our pieces. If the position was more closed, you know, that type of maneuver might... Sorry, wow. Knight e1 might make more sense. But I feel like here we need to act quickly. You know, there's also the possibility of d4. We have to look at d4. Does that ever work? It just doesn't look like it works. You know, I don't see how it's going to work. I was thinking this. Ooh, that's nice. That's so nice. This actually works. Pawn takes. Probably it just simplifies to an equal position, but that's a nice cheapo, like bishop takes c6 check. So if knight takes, you have bishop e3, and you win your piece back. You destroy his center. Take out his Marazzi. The problem with the position is that it's probably like dead equal. Or he can actually like be greedy and like take on e2. Yeah, but it's still a compensation. You have, well actually, dude, this looks scary for black. I think that's kind of greedy. Maybe queen e5, right? But there's no question. No, he could be in a scary place in this type of line. I think like black should just castle. You know, takes and like queen h5 and it's equal. It's probably pretty equal. It's a little fancy. So probably you should just play like d3. You know, you also have ideas like bishop g5. If you think about it like a Marazzi or a Mora gambit declined or something like that. You can do like bishop g5 takes, knight e4. But I think you want to hit his queen. Take advantage of the position of his queen. That's the key to the position. So either bishop g5 and like quick rook c1, or maybe, yeah, bishop e3 doesn't seem to really do much. So let's say he plays like h6, you know, then you have to put your bishop here, but you're supporting d4. You wonder, was b4 possible instead of d? Well, that's what I talked about. It feels like b4 should work somehow. Pure intuition. It works. Yeah, I mean, my problem was this, and I didn't see anything. There is bishop a3. Black can always play a5, though. Yeah, so it's not convincing. It looks like a3 or d3. But Jim's move's probably fine. Alright, a3. That's sweet. So he's on g5. Oh man, that sucks. That's why d3 was important, Jim. Damn it. That sucks. He has e4. Wow, you had to do d4. I missed it too. I just saw it in the analysis line. Shit, this is a strong move. That's the only move that casts doubt in this position. Yeah. You have all sorts of stuff now. He almost has to take. Knight e1 stopped e4. It did, so did d3. But d3 was more developmental. But this is an answer. This is a nice answer. He has to take now. Take with the queen and it's like equal, I guess. But after this it looks like you're worse. Man. He tricked you. I don't know if you're worse. It looks like you might be worse now. He's got serious threats with that lineup, you know, bishop h3 and stuff. Got away with murder. Maybe we can sack the exchange like Emil the Farmer. Now obviously you would expect one to play bishop h3 here. Oh, you're black? Oh no. Well, I'm not going to turn it around now. Dude, I thought you were white. Anyway, alright, fine. I think you should play bishop h3. What's your problem? Is he gonna like sack the exchange? What's your problem, man? I wouldn't even take it. You can do like that. And castle queenside. Anyway, it's a bullet game. Let's not take it too seriously. So knight g4. A cheapo. Yeah, that's a cheapo, alright. Man. Now, like, now what? Just went back to h6. This is a great square. But you're hitting h3, so it looks kind of scary for him. He can play e3. I would try to trade your queen off. I mean, this is not ideal, but it's not that bad, right? The engine says what? d3. d3 is scarier. You're going to take here. I don't really like that. Black must have had better, right? Well, I don't think a better objectively, you know. I think like I would have played bishop h3 if I were black. This is a gambling move. Yeah, of course he had better. Knight f6 was better, guarding his e4 pawn. So you're just playing for mate. He guards the mate. Played f5. It's just a crazy position. You castle queenside. And now there's no way to mate him. I mean, it looks like you're playing the Hennig-Shara gambit now. So he needs to like get something going over there. He could play maybe bishop c3. Try to get on the b file quickly. This is a good try, naturally f4. I don't know if it works, but what does it matter how many pawns you sack? I just hope he takes on g7. He's not. He's got to be crazy. Like, who would take on g7 there? That's insane. I don't know what I would do. I mean, there is a problem though. I would probably take this, honestly. Like, why doesn't he take that one? If you're gonna take a pawn, why would you take on g7 and like annihilate yourself? I mean, this isn't that bad, right? What do you got? What do you got, man? I mean, queen here, that's... You could hit it with knight h4. Oh, you got the lateral thing. Wow. I didn't see that. Nice. So this is really sneaky. Yeah, nice eye. So that's... Wow, an extra added bonus. Yeah, he should take on f4, it looks like. This is crazy. Like, how can you take on g6? That's nuts. I don't want to open up the G file. So Jim has like a million moves in this position. You could play anything. I mean, rook G8 is interesting. I would think just rook G8. You can also take. And he does that. So you didn't see like that was hanging. But this is obviously... So if queen c5 check, what happens? Like d4? I guess it doesn't do that much. You could also just go e3. That's not the point, anyway. There's crazy variations, like take on g2, rook takes d2 or something. You could do that. And like here. I don't know. Probably doesn't work, but I was surprised by this a bit, but it's good too. He's got the subtle idea. attacking b7. And then you get a question mark for b6. So you must have had something brutal here. Just let him take on b7. It's one check. It's not like there's an open d-file. So you could just take here, you're killing him. Check, king d7, and resigns. That's basically game over. You're threatening mate. If he takes, he gets annihilated by rook takes e2 check. Yeah. So he tries to defend with this desperation. And he's down what? Down a rook now. Down a rook, baby. It's a bullet game and he's down a rook. So you got endgame. That's just the, oh sorry, that's just the analysis variation. The game was b6. C takes b6, A takes b6, rook here. So what? What does white have now? Like e3 or something? Obviously the guy has to defend his position. I mean, this e2 is bad. He doesn't do defense, I guess. He just doesn't do defense, and you miss mate in one. That's the quality of bullet chess. And what now? You get mated? A white timed out. Yeah, that was entertaining. Yeah. Yeah, fun. Fun. Alright guys, actually that was a pretty good result. You had 1 inaccuracy and 3 blunders in a bullet game. Really, like, very low inaccuracies. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to be back on Friday. Thank you for the gift subs from Masturbate and others, and for your support. Friday, Blitz from 11 a.m. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks to Mr. Coffee. Thanks to all of you for joining me. I could try to do a raid if there's anyone. Looks like Art Vega is live. We'll raid him. We haven't done a raid in a while, so don't go anywhere. Please don't leave. We already have like not that many viewers, so stay with us.